From the broken ruins of Babylon, this is End of Days Radio. I am your host, Daniel, broadcasting to you all the way from the shimmering Emerald City right here in the heart of the Pacific Northwest. Hello, and how are you? Today's date is Saturday, March 11th, 2023. We are approaching the Ides of March. Beware the Ides of March. Those of you who are familiar with the death and the backstab and the multi-stab of the one Julius Caesar in the famous massacre of himself, Et tu, Brutus. It is also close to Valentine's Day. I guess you could say this is our Valentine's Day show, if you want to call it that, or you could just say it just might be our greatest episode ever. Today's guest is Dr. Robert. He is a mentalist, a magician who performs feats that apparently demonstrate extraordinary mental powers, such as mind reading. Ooh, we've got a juicy one in store for us today. And let's not forget to check out endofdaysradio.com, where you can check up on everything End of Days Radio, get a schedule of our show. You can donate, always looking for those donations. Donate via PayPal, or you can donate some Bitcoin. Your donations help this show. They help me so much and help keep this show on the air. Don't forget to stay tuned for our after show, where we discuss topics, politics, news, lots to talk about, including we're going to talk about homeless camps, crisis actors, if I can get it out. But for now, let's get on with the show. Let's bring on our wonderful guest, Dr. Robert. 3, 2, 1, boom.
What's up, man?
Hey, hello.
How are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you, sir?
I'm all right, man. You looking good, man. I love the music and all that shit, man. Like it's just like, groovy and soothing, and it made me want to relax and calm my mind and kind of submit to you more. And,
whoa. I don't want you to submit.
No. I mean, in the sense of being open to your questioning, trusting you.
Oh, okay.
Being fair, non-judgmental, what they call the principle of generosity. You know what I mean? When you in argumentation, you want to be generous to your opponent. You want to do your very best to understand your opponent as accurately as possible.
I like that. Yeah, that's a good point. I think that respecting your opponent is something that a lot of athletes and a lot of performers, they don't really do. They shit on their opponents, but really they should respect them, because otherwise they could find themselves caught by surprise.
Oh yeah, you never want to underestimate the enemy. I think that's what you're alluding to, right? Like underestimate
exactly.
the enemy.
Don't underestimate anybody.
Yeah. You know why you really don't? Because you really don't know what they are. Like we only see what people allow us to see. And if you're dealing with an intelligent opponent that's dotted his I's and crossed his T's and shit like that, whoo-wee, that has a plan. Look how Ali did Foreman. Because Foreman was a beast, you know that, right?
Oh yeah, the rumble in the jungle.
Yeah, but Foreman used to really like lift motherfuckers off their feet. Like when he hit them.
Yeah, he was famous for that uppercut. He'd make them fly.
Oh man, like rocket launching and shit, dude. Like there's a have you ever seen Skill, Brains, and Guts?
No, what's that about?
All right, that's a documentary. That's an early documentary of Muhammad Ali. So he showed you like from childhood, his Olympics footage, then he's in between there, all his speeches, all the things he did to Sonny Liston and all those things like that to get him to fighting, because Sonny Liston was kind of afraid of him.
Really? I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, he was ducking and dodging Ali all day. So Ali one day, because Ali used to name all his opponents, right? So like he named Floyd Patterson the Rabbit, right? And then he named Sonny Liston the Bear. And he said when Sonny Liston beat the shit out of what's the guy's name? I forget his name, but Floyd Patterson. Yeah, Ali said Floyd Patterson bit like a little rabbit. So one day, when Ali went to fight Floyd Patterson, he brought Floyd Patterson some carrots and said, "From now on, you are the rabbit." And then he proceeded to beat the shit out of him. And then he called Liston the bear, but Liston was ducking and dodging all that. So one day, Ali put a bear trap in his yard at his home. He said, "I'm coming to get you, you big bear."
Oh my God.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
hilarious. Yeah, he
man,
had that kind of pro wrestling flair about him. That's
he got it from
probably
what was it? Gorgeous George, right?
Oh yeah, Gorgeous George, famous wrestler from back in the day.
Yeah, he kind of got his style from Gorgeous George, a bit like that. You know what I mean? Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. You know, all that. You know, he had a good. You know what? What you want to learn from Ali, man? He had the right people around him. Dundee was a strategist. You know, because it's all warfare. Life is warfare. It's all about strategy. It's all about thinking. It's never relying on brute force. You know, it's psychological. You know what I mean? You know, if you know what's on the mind comes manifest in the outside world, right? So if you get your enemy to doubt himself, second guess himself, stop believing in himself, he'll start to underperform. And that's what Ali was a master at, getting inside the head, beating the enemy without throwing a punch. You get where I'm coming from?
Yeah, not only was he great at mental warfare, but he could back it up in the ring. I mean, if you watch some of his fights, it sounds like you're a bit of a boxing fan.
Oh, yeah, I used to be a boxer.
You used to do boxing?
I mean, I grew up on that shit, man. I was Olympic prospect in boxing.
Oh, you're kidding me. Dr. Robert.
Yeah, I was Olympic prospect in boxing, man, until I got caught up in gangs and shit like that. But yeah.
I want to hear all about this. I want to hear the whole story of Dr. Robert, starting at the beginning. Let's go to the beginning.
I was born in a little hut in Lakeside, Louisiana. Now, I was actually born in Fontana, California. Although we lived in South Central LA. But my mother worked for Weyerhaeuser. It was and it was a good job, man. My mother used to get paid. That's why we were able to eventually move to San Dimas. Although my father had a decent trade, my mother used to get paid. And it was a union job when unions first start booming and shit like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And in Weyerhaeuser, they used to make diapers and milk cartons. And she used to bring these milk cartons home from all over the world, from Africa, India, have different writing and shit. It used to blow my mind. But she made big money, but she had insurance and she had Kaiser insurance. So I was born in San Bernardino, California, in Kaiser Hospital.
Okay.
And then I grew up in South Central LA for a little bit. And right when we got into middle school, they started really making big money and they wanted to get us out the city, so they moved down to San Dimas. But I used to live directly across the street from Horseman Middle School. They call that motherfucker the zoo. Yeah, so I escaped it from the skin of my teeth. Yeah. Oh yeah, it's a jungle, Motherfuckers be scrapping, killing, shooting, dying.
Raping. So fighting over territory, or fighting over drugs, or
just fighting, gang, clout, fuck you, nigga. You know what I mean? You looking at me too hard, that type of shit, just stupid shit. There's no rhyme or reason to it. Yeah, just stupid shit. You know what I mean? It's not really no rhyme or reason. You step on the motherfucker's shoes and get your teeth knocked out. You know what I mean? Get beat up because the motherfucker wants your chain around your neck because you got caught slipping. It's a lot of shit. You know what I mean? It's just, you just dealing with starving people, man, who barely got shit. You know what I mean? Then they just cram the fucking together. You know what I mean? You saw Lord of the Flies, right?
Oh yeah.
That's what that shit is. What happened?
Got crazy.
They had no parents. What? Kind of had to fend for themselves.
Yep.
Then they do what? Then they start organizing themselves, right?
Yep.
Had a pecking order, right?
Yeah, pecking order, hierarchy.
Then the motherfuckers start beefing, right? You had defectors, right?
Yeah, I guess he did. Yeah, it was kind of a gang warfare. Lord of the Flies.
Yeah.
So and they took the pig head, stuck it on a stick, kind of like a symbol.
Yeah, that's all that shit is, brother. You know what I mean? That's all that shit is. And then I went to jail for a stint.
Were these Crips or Bloods, or was this
Crips?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's 60s. Those Crips.
A lot of Crips in California.
Neighborhood, yeah, Bloods too, but it's not in California anymore. I hear there's Crips in like Seattle and all kind of shit.
Oh yeah,
I
they're
mean,
around here.
you ever seen
Definitely.
that?
Tukwila.
You ever seen that? And he's a guy you guys like, Killer Mike. I never heard any of his music, anything like that. But remember Cryptocola and all that shit? I don't think that shit was in California. I don't think that was in California. I was some country niggas actually. But so yeah, so then after that, I had a girlfriend named Laura, right?
Yeah.
One of the finest girls I ever landed to, man. She was fine than a motherfucker, man. You know, she went to Westchester, I think. You know, she lived right near Fox Hills Mall, and we were younger. That's where all the bad girls was at, Fox Hills Mall.
Like that's what they used to do back in the day. That's what I used to do. Hang out at the mall.
Yeah. And just be the finest sisters of the world. Mexican girls, black girls. You know, you might find like a girl from the Middle East every now and then, but I'm just fine motherfuckers. Belizean girls. You know, that's kind of like you know, Belize, right? It's kind of near Mexico. But they're kind of black and Indian mix. So they had like that long, silky black hair. You know, that caramel brown skin. Fine than a motherfucker. Yeah. Oh man, I love the girls, man. When we get started.
Yeah, that's what it was about. Going to the mall. You go there to check out the women, flirt with them.
Yeah.
It's not like that anymore.
Get fights. I remember I was in there one day and I was with my homie Shamik. And at this point, man, I kind of like start transitioning out. And I got involved with like the Nation of Islam and stuff like that. Temple number 27. That's on Western too. You know what I mean? That's at the FY High House with Brother Malik. You know what I mean? Brother Shaka, he was a blood. He was a Damu, right? But he was a straight
So these were guys in the gangs that were also Muslim or affiliated with the Nation of Islam.
Yeah, they weren't affiliated. They crossed over.
Oh, okay. Because they had to stop all that once they got with.
Yeah. But you know, it never gets out of you too, and you kind of stay connected because you're trying to bring other people into the fold. You know what I mean? So every summer I stay at the FY house, right? Sell bean pies. And then we created like our own little business. We used to sell fish dinners. And then Brother Malik, he was like real close to like Farrakhan. Like, I mean, like he was a honcho.
Oh, okay. So he was high up the ladder.
Yeah, he was high up. So he came out here to kind of like get Temple number 27 back in line. You know, there's a lot of gangsters over here, you know, they kind of slacking in their discipline and shit. So he just came out here to kind of like, you know what I mean, set things right. And he was like, and he ruled with an iron fist, and he was smart as hell. I mean, like,
he didn't put up with no flack.
Brilliant. That wasn't that. He was just like, he was intimidating. You know, like, it's just like.
He's a strong leader.
You know, it's an aura. You ever seen like that little dog, man, and he's the leader of the pack and he punking all the big dogs?
Yeah, there's just something about him.
It's a mindset. Yeah, it's an aura. He just had an aura. He didn't have to say anything. It's just when you were right near him, you know, you just sense, man, this motherfucker kill you. And I remember one day I went to the store with him to get like some stuff for the fish dinners. And he was real smooth, you know, when it was like, you know, not, you know, we weren't at the mosque. You know what I mean? He'd always have on like a fly little Fila sweatsuit or a Nike sweatsuit or something like that. You know, baseball cap, you know, nice little like, you know, but like elegant, you know, gold chain around his neck and shit like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we were walking into the store one day, and I think it was right off Western, maybe near Pico. Well, Western, and I knew Adams was a little bit down the street, Western Adams, but like right in Twain, then there's kind of like used to be a liquor, like a market over there or some shit. And we went in there, and we're coming out, and this white lady, you know, who was kind of it was coming, was like barely beginning to gentrify a bit.
Yeah.
And this white lady was out there. She had a flower, and she kept trying to get him to like, buy, this is just a flower, just take it. You know, anything you can do for right. And he said, like in an eerily calm voice, he said, "I'll kill you if that'll help you."
Oh my. And
she just froze. And he just walked to the car. I said, "God damn." But like real smooth and shit. Not only that, man, we got into a big ass fight with the LAPD.
Oh.
out there like just squabbing, like Shaka, Brother Malik, my best friend Freddie, which was kind of like Brother Malik's nephew, because he just kind of messed with her mother who was in the nation. So then he was like a real unruly kid. So she sent him out here to live with him to get disciplined. And he and that guy used to bump heads all the time, like father and son. You know, children always see through their parents. You know
That's
what I mean?
very
Like
true.
you always see through the bullshit. So
Yeah.
like, so we were making money and shit, right? So one day, like every time him and Malik, Freddie, because Freddie was pretty psychological too. And Freddie would say some shit like, "Where's all that money going, nigga? Huh? What you doing with all that goddamn money?" You know? Brother Malik be like, "You better shut your ass up." You know, we just go out there and train, you know, like it was just funny, man. Just like, it was just crazy shit, man. But yeah, so I was in that for a little bit. Oh, well, I got off track because I'm talking about when I went to jail. So you know, this was like when Farrakhan was popping, right? Because it was a time when Farrakhan was at his height. You know what I mean? Like everybody
Yeah,
was into
yeah.
Farrakhan.
He's still a big deal, but I
No, but
think back then he was
like
huge.
everybody was getting to him because I think like you had the Rodney King shit, you had like hip hop. It was conscious hip hop at that time, so everybody had like like remember those African medallions, the red, black, and ring. They're made out of leather.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, groovy, man, groovy. Yeah, yeah. So it's around that time, right? And so I met Laura at one of those events when I was guarding the minister. Like they had me outside posted, and I was guarding like a certain area. Because that's what we did. We the FY, we the Fruit of Islam, right? So we marched, trained, like every morning, man, we had to do push-ups. Then we start boxing, learning martial arts.
Whoa.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you guys are serious.
Had to clean up the FY house, all of that shit, man. Super discipline. I'm telling you, man, let me tell you something right now. Those Muslims, Nation of Islam, FOI, riders. Will take your life quicker than you can go, shh. Do not underestimate them and do not play with them. Have you read a book called Zebra?
No, tell me about that.
Oh man, I did not read Zebra, man. All right, man. So Zebra's this book about they called the Zebra Killings. And I think it took place like in San Francisco, where it's like this rogue Muslim sect, like black Muslim sect was kind of like fanatical. Are you listening?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They start killing white people.
Whoa.
It's called Zebra Killings. And they couldn't figure them motherfuckers out. And it was surgical and strategical, but they were like killing like high-ranking white people.
Whoa, I'd never heard of this. This is fascinating.
It's called the Zebra Killings.
So they were targeting like rich white people, like
Yeah,
political type of people,
because they had honor. So they weren't just like, picking on some average Joe. Like, like they kind of like, like the Knights of Templar or some shit.
Whoa. No, this is fascinating. Like I've never heard of this, but this is crazy.
Because it's a lot of charismatic people you start to run into because the streets is full of a lot of charismatic cats. That's why Charles White gets a lot of attention and shit because he got that black man swag. You know what I mean? Although I think he sold his soul for white supremacy. You know what I mean? But at the same time, he's appealing because he got a little hood sense and he mixed it in there with the hoods. They call it like false game and shit. So it's like, yeah, these punk ass motherfuckers. Yeah, let me tell you right now, you rappers ain't never did nothing. Fuck you motherfucking rappers. What you ever do? White people killing you people all the goddamn time. Nigga, look at you, nigga. You know what I mean? And put us down and shit. You know what I mean? But not really actually explaining, you know what I mean, how we got like that. You know what I mean? Who's the cause of that? You know what I mean?
Not going to the root of the issue.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? The fact, they kick black men out their motherfucking houses. They told the black woman, we won't give you federal aid unless you kick your man out the fucking house.
Yeah. There's all kinds of stuff that has come directly from the U.S. government against black people. And that's something that most people don't realize, that the government itself has been or is extremely racist.
Oh man, man, beyond that shit, like evil, like sinister, like magic shit. Have you ever had Sinister Forces?
Mm-mm. Tell me about it. Tell me. Sinister Forces.
I'm not doing that.
I want to know all about this.
Because you call yourself like the end of days radio. So I'm thinking you
Yes.
would know something. Because I'm thinking like we about to talk about some apocalyptic shit.
Oh,
You know
we
what I mean?
can. We will. This is it. This is it.
All right. Sinister Forces written by Peter Levenda, right? And
Okay.
the subtitle's called, you might want to write this down. and the subtitle's called A Grimoire of American Political Witchcraft.
Oh, we're getting into this. Okay.
Okay. So this is some trippy shit. What if I told you, all right, Manson's from Kentucky, Charles Manson.
Charles
Ashland.
Manson.
He's from Ashland, Kentucky. Kentucky is a Native American word, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which means something like cursed bloody ground.
What?
Some people say some other, cursed bloody ground. So really like Kentucky's kind of built over like a serious ancient Indian burial ground, right?
Yeah.
And it's like all these spirits there, right? Do you know Ashland, Kentucky? Like the majority of our serial killers come from Ashland, Kentucky.
I had no idea about that. That is crazy.
The majority of our, even Son of Sam in some way is connected to Ashland, Kentucky.
Wow. That is crazy.
Did you know Manson was a member of the Church of Scientology?
Charles Manson.
Yeah. Forget.
I did not know he was affiliated with that.
He used to fuck with like L. Ron Hubbard and all of them. That's where he learned that like serious mind control shit to get them chicks to like be crazy like that.
So he was like, what the official narrative is that he learned this stuff in prison, but it sounds like it goes a lot deeper than that.
Now he learned that shit from MK Ultra.
Holy shit.
Manson, Son of Sam, and a host of other serial killers are MA Ultra subjects gone rogue.
There has to be something there because he had these women, he had these guys, he had them brainwashed. And
yeah. Coach shit. Because remember, they're trying to create the perfect assassin. Now think about this too. I just want you to close your eyes. Just close your eyes with me.
Okay.
I want you to imagine that time area, 60s, mid 60s, right?
Mm-hmm.
I want you to kind of just look around and see what's kind of going on there. Kennedy gets assassinated. Martin Luther King gets assassinated. Kennedy's brother gets assassinated. Fred Hampton gets assassinated. Right? At the same time, the Manson killings is going on. And at the same time, the head of the CIA admitted that they were involved in a program called MK Ultra, where they're trying to create the perfect assassin. All this is going around at the same time.
Yeah, it just all happened at once.
Yeah.
And then you have the fact that, like, with the Kennedy assassination, the assassin got assassinated.
Yeah. Then they said the bullet directories and all that shit, man. And then all those documents were just shredded.
They got away with it.
Not only that, did you know Manson had an uncle by the name of Darwin Scott, who he was raised with? Manson's the son of a prostitute, like No Name Maddie or something like that, a prostitute Maddie. So he was raised with his uncle. They say his uncle was a really bad man. Did you know? Just before the Tate killings, there was a killing. Manson's uncle was killed in the same way. It was passionate, full of energy, stabbed like 1 trillion times, blood everywhere.
Holy shit. I had heard that there were killings before and after that were kind of like not covered much or covered up.
Oh yeah. And these are like, these are people. Not only that, you want to hear something funny?
Sure.
Some kind of make the argument that Manson was kind of framed a little too,
Definitely, definitely.
because when they really went deep into what actually going on, and you know about it. What's his name? What's the guy's name? What's the husband's? Trying to think of what was Sharon Tate's husband name? He's that like studio guy.
Yeah, the filmmaker, the
What's his name?
oh I'll look it up really quick.
But he's also like a pedophile too, right? Was he like trying to get away from the government or some shit like that?
Polanski.
Yeah. Okay. Check this out. This is gonna blow your mind. So they're rich, powerful white people, right?
Yeah.
You know, rich, powerful white people need to hide secrets and shit, right? That's what they do, right?
For sure.
Right. All right, check this out. And Manson had girls, right? They used to film homemade pornos there.
Oh shit.
And you know what else? Sharon Tate, like BBC.
Oh.
So have videos of her just being drilled, like real good by black men, right?
Oh dang.
So the police had all this evidence, right? They were actually selling the porno tapes. Like, look it up. This shit is documented. Like, they're actually selling, the police were actually like selling the porno tapes on the side, right?
Yeah.
And the reason why they wanted to frame Manson and put it that way is because they didn't want that evidence to come out. They didn't want the world to know that they were freaky deaky like that. So it's a partial cover up too.
So they got that all covered up for the whole world.
Because think about the magic trick they pulled off. Did Manson kill anybody or did somebody else?
Well, when he was doing those famous interviews, he kept saying, I didn't kill anybody. And he kept alluding to something, but he wouldn't say what it was.
No, listen. I'm just common sense. Factually, he didn't kill anybody.
True.
Those girls did it, and maybe one guy or two. You know what I mean? So he was basically kind of almost like a Hitler. You know what I mean? Like what they call it, stochastic terrorism, or like I guess we call it like a stochastic hit. You know what I mean? Plus the mind control and shit like that. So like they literally had to invent law to put Manson away.
Wow.
That was unprecedented. That what they call that? Give it it's a term for law, means something like the first time you ever hear an issue. I forget the name of it. No, I'm smoking weed today, man, so my mind's a little off. But yeah, so basically, man. Yeah, so it's a partial cover up too, man. But go back to what I'm saying, man. So Son and Sam, Manson are connected. And remember, Son and Sam is talking about, like he's hearing voices from the devil and shit.
Yeah, Son of Sam, he was hearing voices, some kind of demonic, satanic shit going on.
So check this out, man. So let's go back to okay. All right. I there is UFO shit for real.
Oh, for sure. I've seen some of that stuff.
Because the UFOs, like the UFO sightings, actually gave the CIA their purpose. Because before that, the CIA really didn't have a purpose. Like after World War II, the CIA really didn't have a purpose until you had the UFO sighting. There was a lot of UFO sightings after that time, like a lot. And nobody knew what to make of it. But the thing was, like, the government was kind of like, well, they're not really hurting anybody, right? And they really didn't know what the fuck that shit was. Like some of them were saying, like, oh, it's the reflection of the light on the back of a seagull's wings. You know what I'm saying? And the other motherfuckers
swamp gas.
They couldn't agree. They couldn't agree. And the other motherfuckers were saying, they seem to be intelligent. They seem to be like intelligent on them, right?
Yeah.
Right. But they were so afraid because the Russians was way, or the psychological shit. That's why they chest masters and shit was way beyond the U.S. Right. So the USA feared that the Russians, especially after that, like remember that War of the World hysteria?
Oh, for sure.
All that, what I'm saying? So they were afraid that the Russians might be able to weaponize that energy against us. and use our superstitions and fears to create a worldwide panic. And in the event of that, the Russians would be able to just walk straight in and take over the United States. So what they did basically, the CIA had to debunk it. So the CIA really are the original Man in Black.
Huh.
That's their purpose. Yeah, that was the original purpose. So they started. So so you know what I mean. So anybody. So they got the government involved. They got Hollywood involved. So anybody who was looking too carefully and asking too many questions, you go. You know what I mean? Or doing too much research. You know what I mean? They
Yeah.
and at this time, like they were really studying psychology at the time and how to work with the mind and how to confuse the mind and shit like that. So what they did basically is they used psychology to smear people who knew the actual truth.
You know what's weird though? This just comes to mind. Will Smith, like he's in the movie Men in Black, and he seems to have like all this sort of weird sort of stuff surrounding him. Like some people say it's Illuminati or something like that. And then he was in the movie Men in Black.
Yeah,
I don't think that's a coincidence.
yeah. You know what, man? Well, you know what? It's psychological, man. Hide things in plain sight. You know, man. Befriend your enemy to destroy your enemy. That's how they killed Fred Hampton. You know that, and that's why I try to explain this to Black people. Like, man, you know what I mean? The worst white kind of racist is the one who pretends he's on your side.
Yes,
that's
amen.
the one who can kill you. That's why Malcolm said, "Watch out for those liberals." You know, he know where you hang out everywhere, or she know where you go everywhere. You know, you done confided little secrets in her. You know, you done told her. Like, see if you're a woman, right? You get real close and you start to gossip, right?
Yeah,
She
pillow
start
talk.
to trust. So you start to trust her a little bit. She telling you, you know, I like this other guy. You know what I mean? That's what that shit is for. Because it's not only to kill you, because you know they'll rather not kill you, right? Because that's gonna make people, you know, because murders, you know, those investigations stay open until you decide to close them. You know, there's really no statute of limitations. You know where I'm coming from? So they'll rather just kind of get information on you to blackmail you and shit.
Yeah, because that's a question I ask, and so many people that are kind of in my circle and come on the show, they're like, why don't they just kill me? And the answer is they don't necessarily want to kill you. They want to repurpose you for their agenda.
Yep. See, that's primitive caveman shit. Kill, shoot, stab. You know, that's what dumb motherfuckers do.
Yeah. It's the art of war. Part of the art of war is to take your enemy's forces and turn them onto your side.
You know that, and what do you say? He says like a true winning war is a war without what?
Casualties, or
that's it. Casualties. Death is a casualty, right? Murder is a casualty, right? Man, you make me laugh, man.
I mean, these people that are behind this stuff, they're certainly not stupid. They put a lot of money towards it, and you know, there's something almost supernatural about their ability to foresee society's movement.
Oh yeah, you just reminded me. So check this out. All right. So this is why it's called sinister forces, right?
Yeah.
All right. You know, Hitler was involved in that shit. He was like a super science practitioner.
Oh,
like
definitely.
That's like Indiana Jones, like looking for all those, you know, like those so-called like holy weapons and shit. You know,
yeah, the stuff they were searching for, the Holy Grail, the Spear of Destiny, trying to go to Tibet, looking for shit underground, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, the swastika and all that shit. So you know, the real society.
The Vril Society, in the Tula Society.
Yeah. Right. So you got, you know, all those witches and shit.
Yeah,
that was the witches,
channelers.
the Vril Society. Yeah. Okay. So they were already. So remember, Nazis had rocket ships and shit like that. You know where I'm coming from?
Oh, definitely.
Nazis were already getting gang for extra dimensional beings. You feel me?
Yeah, hell yeah. Like Hitler himself, he said, I saw something like, I saw the new man. He was in his bedroom and he was he said he was intrepid and cruel, and we're like, what the hell is he talking about? Some kind of reptilian alien or something like that? But
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
probably some kind of.
They had rockets and shit, flying saucers. The Nazis really had flying saucers and shit. Nobody understands that shit. Some make the argument like a lot of this technology we're seeing is re-engineered old Nazi technology. Like even our propaganda system and commercials, all that shit's Nazi.
It
Like
is.
the Nazis were inspired. The Nazis were inspired by the United States, but the Nazis perfected that shit.
Man,
You know what
we're
I mean?
going deep here.
You gonna come from? Because look how they did it, man. They turned their whole nation into a nation of killers.
Scott Shuthats in the chat, he brings up a good point. They were also the first to work on the A-bomb.
Yeah, I mean, tell me, yeah, we had to steal Einstein or some shit.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Then we have to kidnap the motherfuckers from Nazis.
Yeah, we're like, hey, you did all these terrible things. So what are we gonna do? We're gonna give you a nice house in the suburbs. We're gonna give you a salary.
Oh, you brought me back to my point. Okay, so when we finally won the war, right? Some American soldiers came like some type of compound, and this is where the compound where the Nazis were doing all those rituals and shit.
Yeah,
Like had all the knowledge and library shit. Check this out, man. The German soldiers who were guarding the place ran up. This is the rumor. I I just heard. This is the rumor. Ran up, so like take it with a grain of salt too. Because I need to maintain my credibility and shit. You gonna come from? But they ran up. They ran up to the American soldiers, right? And they told the American soldiers, whatever you do not tell your superiors about this place. Burn this motherfucker down to the ground. It will destroy the world. And you know what these dumb motherfuckers did? What do you think they did?
they followed orders.
Yep.
I was only following orders. That's what they're all about.
So they didn't burn it down. And guess who starts fucking with that shit?
Us?
CIA.
Yeah.
And the rumor is that they like opened up some extra dimensional portal that ushered in all this negative energy.
Oh shit.
And that's when you start to see our nation decline into degeneracy.
That's exactly how it went, because after World War II, what happened? It was the hippies and the rock music and the nakedness and the debauchery, the pagan like practices.
And also too, because the United States, they're cursed.
The United States is cursed?
Yeah. I'm talking to building shit on ancient spiritual burial grounds.
Mm-hmm.
Like there was nations here long before anyone was. They're hidden pyramids, tablets. You know what I mean? With magic inscriptions on them and all type of shit like that. It would just upset the common narrative that we have today. Like there were other people here, man. There are certain fruits and vegetables that only grow here, right? That were found in Egypt. So what does common sense tells you what? The motherfuckers was over here.
Worldwide Atlantean civilization, crossing of great barriers of water, all kinds of stuff.
So you see those like shit on the water and, shit, and that shit like that?
Yeah.
Are in this they're breakaway. They call them breakaway nations. Like Wakanda. Like Wakanda's technically what they call a breakaway nation. Like a group of human beings that somehow, between their spirituality and the way they live their life and the way they practice life, they achieve like just great spiritual and technological heights, right? That they have technology, they literally just render themselves invisible and be living right among, like the USOs, like the flying crafts that come out of the water and shit like that.
Oh yeah.
Those are breakaway nations. They're actually from here. They're not from outer space. They're just an advanced group of human beings that had advanced and realized that everyone in the world's not ready for this shit.
Yeah, like those triangle UFOs people see, stuff coming out of mountains. Yeah. It's everywhere.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So they're just a breakaway nation, basically. So a lot of shit too, man. So they talk about hidden agendas and pacts with extra dimensional beings and shit like that. So
Yeah,
I don't know, 'cause, this is getting real. I don't know anybody can know this shit. This is just straight speculation. We know like there's certain like contracts and pacts and shit with like higher intelligences on the earth. You know what I mean? Like
definitely.
treaties and shit like that. Because some say like the Greys are just here. Some say they're actually time travelers.
I've heard that.
And they're basically trying to like reverse what we did to turn them into what they are now.
They say they can't breed.
Yeah, not only that, look how depressing they look. Grays. Like there's no creativity, there's no life. Everybody looks the same. You
Big
like perfect.
old
Yeah,
black bug eyes.
it's perfect fascism.
Mm,
You know what I mean?
that's a good point.
It's
And they
perfect
also
fat.
will sometimes
Yeah,
say that they're slaves
yeah,
of another species.
yeah, it's
That's
perfect
also
fascism.
fascist.
Yeah, it's perfect fascism. Dark, because color that gives us inspiration, like light, color, flowers. You know what I mean? It's those things that make you free thinkers because it kind of carries your imagination away, depending on what you naturally get fixated to.
Dr. Robert, what do you think of this whole idea of flat Earth and an ice wall and Nazi UFOs being on the ice wall, kind of protecting it, preventing
Mm.
people from crossing?
It's possible. I mean, because we got to keep in mind, man, we don't know what the fuck is going on. Like human beings literally don't know where we come from. We're just here. That's why we keep like excavating and shit. We're trying to find out who we are. Some of us believe we come from aliens. Some believe God made us and shit. We literally have amnesia. We don't know who we are and we don't know where we come from. So all that shit is possible.
Yeah, we are a species completely in the dark. Like
Yeah.
some people will call it the Tower of Babel effect. We've forgotten everything.
Yeah. So so I don't think any of that shit because like to me life is crazy. Like me just being able to talk to you right now, that is a miracle. I mean, I need to call it a miracle. It's just like I don't understand it. I don't know why I'm here, why I'm looking at you, why you look the way you look, why I think I'm talking to a separate consciousness, why we have a language, why it seems to work between us. I just seem to be here doing this shit. We really don't know what it is. And actually, we really can't comprehend it. All our understandings really just made up. That's why we have different understandings. It's just some arrogant, narcissistic son of a bitch who was charismatic, who knew how to play with language, where was word solid, and was able to convince everybody that his opinion was worth more than theirs. And
That
then
would
you
be
have,
called an authority, like
yeah,
on a subject. Like right now, we see medical authorities and they have control of the world because we see them as the people that should know what they're talking about.
yeah, exactly, yeah, exactly. But not only that, it's not just that because but I'm going to go a little deeper in that. Just like we just literally made it up. Like somebody just really just used his imagination and sort of strung his thoughts together in a certain way, and then came out and was able to convince the entire world or a large amount of people that what I'm saying is the truth. Especially when you talk about psychology, man, it really has no proof. Psychology is black magic,
Hmm.
straight out. It's not
Well, I do know
scientific. It
I
has
know a lot of
scientific.
this stuff from the occult world, like hypnosis, for example. That's literally straight out of the occult world. That's from
Yeah,
magic.
yeah. All that's just man. If you don't think Carl Jung is a cult dude, then you just don't understand what magic and sorcery is.
Yeah, and he would talk a lot about UFOs and stuff like that.
Yeah. Because I mean, because like to the ancient people, that was a science. It was super science. You know what I mean? Like being able to like understand the universe to such a degree that you have complete mastery over it. Like can manifest shit, walk through walls, telepathically commute with people, bend shit with your mind. That's the highest science.
Oh man, I want to learn to do some of that stuff.
You know what I mean? Where you're not only the observer, you're everything you observe. It's like a complete oneness with the universe. You no longer feel detached from it. I realize when I look at you, you're me. When I look at that table, that's me too. It's all the same shit, just vibrating at a different frequency. Your body's like that. Your fingers vibrating at a different frequency than your hand, right?
Yeah.
Your hand vibrating at a different frequency than your wrist, right?
Yep.
Your wrist is vibrating at a different frequency than your arm, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
So vice versa. So the house is vibrating there. So, but it's all you, because at our basic level, we're all what? Essentially stardust, right?
Yeah. And you know what's crazy? The Greys, the aliens, they do the things that you were talking about earlier. They can
And the
move shit
reptilians
with
do
their
too, right?
mind, and go through walls and turn invisible and all that stuff. They all
Yeah,
display these abilities.
yeah. But they got them through the left hand path.
Yeah, left-hand path.
Yeah, yeah,
Now,
yeah.
have you gotten into this magic stuff at all? Have you done
You see
any
my
rituals?
video? You go to my page. Well, they were like, I have a video of me because I'm not doing it on the phone, but I have a video doing telepathy with my nephew.
Ooh, I like this because we've been getting into this lately. The psi stuff,
Yeah,
psychic powers,
yeah.
paranormal
Yeah, my
abilities.
family's psychic, man. I got my niece is bad as fuck.
Ooh,
But my nephew is too. Blake is. You'll see him in that video. When we got the thing, man, I email it to you, and then you kind of like share it with your audience or something like that. But I actually figured out a way to like, like when Indians talk about like the Indians just be like, you take a photograph of him, you're taking a part of their soul, right?
yeah.
But you really are, because you're just energy, right? So your energy is imprinting on that paper object, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you're kind of like you're literally making a copy of your auric energy, right?
Yeah.
So I realized basically I can't tell you the way, but there's a way you can connect with that image, and it's like a portal to the motherfucking person. I can communicate with the dead doing that shit. In
Really?
fact, in this video, I'm communicating with the dead father of AOC.
Oh my god.
Yeah, Sergio. And then there's another part of it because he's dead, but there's another part of it, and they're both on my TikTok, but I'll send it to you, I promise. And there's another part where we communicate with a missing indigenous girl. And what's funny too, man, I had my niece Shauna tap into her like the day before, just real quickly. And the first thing came out my niece's mouth was, she's tied up, she's alive, and she has a blindfold on, and she's in a dark room.
Oh my god.
And then I didn't tell my nephew Blake. So then when my nephew Blake, when I connected him to her, he said the exact same thing. And she was apparently
Wow.
abducted, like coming home from school. And we're trying, because remote viewing too. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
he can see the area where her, because at one point I'm trying to get a description from her. So I'm like, okay, well, where were you at? All you got to do is envision it, and because my nephew's connected to, and my nephew will be able to see what you see in your mind, right? So first thing came out of his mouth, it looked like East Los Angeles, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's like South Dakota or something like that. I said, that sounds right. I'm pretty sure some areas of South Dakota look like that, right?
For sure.
Okay, yeah. So apparently, man, it's these Latino men who pretend to be like, like you ever see them on the corner and they're selling like the fruit and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So they snatched her and brought her in the car, but she said it was real fast. Like she said, like all of a sudden, man, like just like a black like hood or something was put over her head, and she was rushed in the car. But she said it was more than one person. And they're like feeding her food under the door and shit like that.
Oh man.
And I'm trying to, she starts telling me about her parents, but she's so frustrated with her. She's literally saying shit like, if you can't help me, just leave me alone. Just go away.
So, I mean, there's no way to know exactly where she's at.
There is if she saw him, like we can get the descriptions. If she can give me the, because that's what basically investigators do. So I was trying to get her like give me like a description. If she saw where they took it, it was the house and the type of car. Those are leads.
Yeah.
We know we know she was kidnapped in an area that looked like East Los Angeles. She was coming home from school, so we know what school she went to, right?
Yeah.
If she saw the car, we would know what the make of the car, right? She did know the guy was Latino though, but she didn't really see his face, just the way he was talking to her.
Sounds like cartel, sex trafficking.
We don't know what it is. It can be anybody. It could just be some nut. I mean, you don't want to speculate.
That's true.
That's where we go wrong at. That's what they teach in the law. You know what I mean? All we know is that she was coming home from school. She may have saw somebody who looked like a vendor. You know what I mean? All of a sudden, a hood just comes over her head and she's ushered into a car. That's really all we know. Everything else is just bullshit.
We gotta pray for this girl.
So I don't know. She's probably dead now because I was a while ago. But I couldn't get a pinpoint on her. I said I was gonna come back, man, but I just got so busy, because I've been doing a lot of shit, man.
Yeah.
Because
So is this your family bloodline? Is this like a special trait that you guys have? Is it or something you unlock?
Yeah, it has, but I can also teach it too, because everybody has it.
Mm-hmm. How is there any advice you can give to my listeners out there how we might like awaken this ability in ourselves?
Well, one thing they say, like the more you visualize the chakra colors, like visualizing the chakra colors in and of themselves, make you aware, give you kind of like psychic awareness. That in and of itself, just like kind of slowing down your breath, meditating, and just visualizing the colors, the chakra colors, like purple for the crown, kind of like dark blue, kind of indigo for the third eye chakra. This is where you manifest reality from. This is your spiritual center. This right here is where you manifest reality from. This is speech. You come from, this is where all your speech comes from. The throat chakra, speaking truth, your heart chakra, relationships. This is light blue, like the color pool water when you visualize it. Gold, then your navel chakra, that's red. Some say like I think we're coming from the spleen chakra, which is your sexual center. That some say it's orange, but my mentor taught me that's rainbow of colors. So I'm visualizing a rainbow of colors, 6 petals, like red, orange, blue, purple, green, right? And then your root chakra is like orange and red.
That makes me think of the Manson people putting that X on the forehead. I wonder if there's some kind of relation there.
Yeah. Any type of ritualistic behavior is essential to brainwashing. Monkey see, monkey do. The more you get them to succumb to your commands, becomes a habit. It takes 21 days to form a habit.
Or the Lil Nas X music video where at the beginning there's that reptilian guy and he's got that third eye.
You gotta be careful about that shit because I'll tell you something else too, man. Like you gotta read you gotta read this thing called Battle from the Mind. I forget the author's name, but it talks about like converge. Oh, check this out. I got it on my computer. You want to hear some of it?
Sure.
All right, man.
Just a second though, because we don't want to get like copyright stuff going on.
No, it's not copyright. Yeah, you're free to use it. It's fair use.
Okay.
Yeah, man. I have a JD. You're safe with me. You hear me?
Yeah.
You're safe with me.
All ready for you.
Oh, here I go. Hold on. All right. So let me see if I still got it up. Give me one good second, good man.
Reminding everybody to go to endofdaysradio.com for all things End of Days Radio. From there, you can donate and keep up with an updated list of our upcoming guests. I tell you to join our Discord, but our Discord has been deleted. It has been censored by the powers that be, or the powers that be below us.
Oh, that's so wrong, man.
Yeah. A lot of censorship going on lately with End of Days Radio, unfortunately, but we are still pushing forward. The deeper we go, the more walls we tend to hit, but it's okay because we cannot be stopped.
That's right.
We're
That's
the
what you got to do.
juggernaut.
That's what you got to do. All right.
Drinking coffee, kicking ass.
Are you? Oh, so you know where brainwashing comes from, right?
I mean, brainwashing itself, that could be very old. That could be hard to say, but definitely the pyramid, like going up the ladder.
When we found it, the Christians accidentally discovered it. It's from Christian revisualism in 18th century America. Apparently, Jonathan Edwards accidentally discovered the techniques during a religious crusade in 1735, Northampton, Massachusetts. Are you listening?
Yeah.
By inducing guilt and acute apprehension, and by increasing the tension, the sinners attending his revival meetings would break down and completely submit.
Wow.
Technically, what Edwards was doing was creating conditions that wipe the brain slate clean so that the mind accepts new programming. That's why trauma is essential to brainwashing. You have to induce trauma. That's why they beat us to death, whipped us, raped us. It makes you submit and love their image. It makes you treat them like God.
That even reminds me of like just being at work. You know, your boss, he's always trying to put you down, put you in your place, yell at you, degrade you, try to traumatize you.
What they call it in the seduction world?
Beats me.
Negging.
No, negging. Okay, yeah, that's that PUA stuff. Yeah, negging.
You're
putting somebody down. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Where'd you get that dress from? Your grandmother? You know, that's that punk ass mystery shit.
Yeah, mystery.
All that punk ass shit. Yeah.
The other guy, the ball guy too.
Yeah.
Styles.
Yeah. And then to go, technically what Edwards was doing was creating conditions to wipe the brain so that mind accepts new programming. He would tell those attending, "You're a sinner. You're destined for hell." That sounds like negging, right?
It does.
As a result, one person committed suicide and another attempted suicide. Again,
wow.
As a result, one person committed suicide and another attempted suicide. Right? The neighbors of the suicidal converts related that they too were affected so deeply that although they had found eternal salvation, they were obsessed with a diabolical temptation to end their own lives.
Oh, man. And look at all the suicides that happen to this day. All the ones that are going on right now.
Yep.
Related? Yep. I think so.
And think about what these motherfuckers release in the atmosphere. See, all this is going around. You can't escape this type of shit in America. Right?
True.
Then once a preacher, let's listen to this. So once a preacher, cult leader, manipulator, or authority figure creates the brain phrase to wipe the brain slate clean, his subjects are open to new programming, right? New input in the form of suggestions can be substituted for their previous ideas. Because Edwards didn't turn his message positive until the end of the revival, many accepted the negative suggestions and acted or desired to act upon them.
Wow. This opens up a whole can of worms right here.
Yeah, check. We got a billboard, dude. You need to call me. I'll give you my phone number.
Hell yeah.
Charles J. Finney was another Christian revivalist who used the same technique for years later in mass religious conversions in New York. The techniques are still being used today by Christian revivalists, cults, human potential training. See, Tony Roberts is a fucking scumbag. That's all this shit is.
Yeah, and they even say that he got all his stuff from other gurus.
Yep. And that's just bad karma. That's why all this shit is happening to the white America. Like all these exposures and shit like that. And especially like it's the timings, right? Because we're in the age of Aquarius. So this is the karmic harvest, basically, right? Remember, like karma used to take years to get your ass. Now it only takes 5 minutes.
Man, that's so crazy that you bring that up because I've been getting all these synchronicities related to karma lately. I kid you not. Like I'll see a license plate, it'll just say karma on it. I'm like, karma? Why is the universe trying to tell me about karma? Did I forget that karma is real or something like that? But then when you think about it, the elite, they do this thing where they tell you what they're going to do, revelation of the method, and it's supposedly they do it to keep from experiencing their karma. So if they believe in karma, then that tells you something because they know a lot more than we do.
Tell me more about that. I never heard of that.
Well, the idea is like they always give us these little hints in movies, TV shows, the nightly news, these events that are happening. They give you little clues.
Oh, I understand that different. I understand that a different way. It doesn't, because you can't escape karma. It helps them manifest those results.
That makes sense too.
Because the more you ever seen that what's the episode? You ever watch that it's about those like it used to come on WB and it was about those demon hunters.
Oh, Supernatural.
Supernatural, right? You remember that episode where they went to that house and they thought it was a ghost, but they tried to do all the shit you do to kill a ghost and it wouldn't kill the motherfucker?
But I don't know that episode, but this is interesting.
I'll tell you the story. So they realized that, like, because they do research too. So a lot of that shit is like story mixed with like real lore and real magical principles, right?
I noticed that.
So apparently, like the visualization was because it was an urban legend, right? So then some dumb fucks who were fucking around with magic, some dabblers, went inside the crib, right? Where all like the murder happened, because it was like old murder that happened a long time ago. But people just assumed it was haunted, right? And nobody had any haunted experiences until these dumb fuck dabbler kids fucking with magic they do. Remember the Indian in the cupboard where the Indian one point gets mad, the kid go, "You should not play with magic, you do not understand." Remember
that? I can't believe you brought that up. The Indian in the cupboard.
Yeah, when the Indian realizes, man, this motherfucker ain't God. This is a kid playing with some fucking shit that he shouldn't be fucking playing with. And then put my spirit in this toy and made me real, made me kill the cow. The cowboy killed him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like basically, so they're playing with shit they don't understand.
So they Rex Cold in the chat says, "Nice reference." Yeah. He approves of that. The Indian in the cupboard. Never thought when I woke up this morning we'd be talking about that. I love that.
Right. So like they had like they put like this ancient Tibetan symbol in there. That's like kind of like a symbol of faith or something like. So it increases like your psychic powers.
Oh.
So then if you go in there and you like kind of project the belief that thing is happening, and then you get other people to do it, it will trigger the magic in that symbol and make it a reality.
That's crazy.
So the only way they could kill that creature, they had to erase that symbol. So they had to do research and all kind of shit. That's what made Supernatural so cool and shit. Like the research and shit they would have to do and all the lore and shit. But a lot of that shit, man, is like based in real lore and shit. But like the stories are fake. Like people, our brains ain't that fucking powerful. Like a lot of people like just, do research, and learn about magic, and then they craft the story and shit. But a lot of that shit is based in real magic. So it's the same principle, what we're talking about, right? So like some people talk about like, like the NFL, that was a ritual and shit like that. And people start talking about that and it's on your mind all the time. And then you start like kind of giving into the belief that they really are members of this secret society called the Illuminati, and they are really casting magical spells. Because remember, what we don't realize, dude, is that energy is just energy. We can make it whatever we want to make it. Right? When I do my telepathy and I connect with somebody's mind, dude, like even when they try to hide thoughts from me, man, I could just pretend like I'm a hacker and pretend I'm on the computer like some Professor X shit, and like really like just break into their mind and and get what I want from them and shit like that. Right? So that's the same principle basically. So then basically, so like you're basically like, so all we are energy, right? E equals MC squared, right? Matter is energy, right? We're energy interacting with energy, right? So what you're doing basically, you're using like all these collective beliefs, right? And you have all these people believing this shit, and that energy is powering this ritual and then it's making this ritual become a reality.
Man, this is deep stuff. Are you ready for a quick question from the chat room? Have you finished your thought?
Yeah, I'm groovy, man. I hope I can answer it, but please, yeah, send it to me.
From Scott Shut Hats in the chat, and I like to speak these because people that listen to the podcast version of the show, they can't see what's popping up on screen or what's in the chat. So what Scott Shut Hat says, he wants your opinion on Ouija boards.
Oh yeah, that's just real. And the problem with Ouija board is like you don't. It's like picking up a phone book and just randomly like calling somebody in the universe. She might accidentally call a motherfucking serial killer or some shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or accidentally call a demon or some shit like that. Because it's really just all these like lost spirits and shit on the lower planes of spirituality just roaming around. Like they have parasites and everything out there. Like I saw the parasitic spiders and all that shit. That's why before
I've heard of those.
Yeah,
spiders.
That's why. Yeah, I saw them motherfuckers.
Man, that's a trip. What do you think those things are?
They feed off you.
Yeah.
Like when you have dark energy, they make you depressed. All right, check this. I'll tell you a story, man. It's funny as motherfucker too. Oh, what's his question?
Oh, he just kind of wanted your opinion on Ouija boards.
Oh, yeah. So basically, yeah. It's dangerous, dude, because like you don't really know what you're gonna get. Like you can play with them, but you want to like arm yourself in spiritual protection first.
Like yeah, because sometimes people actually reach out and they talk to some spirit that seems somewhat knowledgeable, and they write tons of books about it.
Spirits are knowledgeable because they can see everything. They can see the whole thing. They can read your mind. It's not that, dude. It's just like they're liars. Like you're dealing with low level beings. Some of them got hate, animosity. They hate people. They're mad. Hungry ghosts are jealous of us because they want to have sex. They want to eat food and they can't do it.
Yeah, oh man, you just hit the nail right on the head with that. I mean, man, like, and they're not only liars, but they're just manipulative. Like they know what to say. They know how to hook you in. They know how to control you.
Yeah. Because my daughter, man, like she told me not so long ago, man, she's like, like a boy named Bobby, like a ghost boy, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I tapped into Bobby. I told Bobby, let me tell you something, Bobby. You better be a ghost boy because if you're not, I'm gonna send you somewhere really, really fucking bad. Like I said, like you better not be influenced, my daughter. I'm gonna send you somewhere real fucking bad. Right?
Yeah, I mean, even on the show, or not the show, the movie The Exorcist, it starts out, they're calling the spirit, I think it's Captain Jack, and it's benign. But then it turns out to be this thing called Pazuzu, who is an ancient demon from Sumer.
I mean, they always masquerade as children. But remember, the art of war is what?
Deception.
Yeah. Tell you, man, nothing hurts worse than betrayal. When you get somebody to believe in you, and they start to love you and they start to trust you, and then they hurt you, man. I mean, you made them so vulnerable at that point from any type of psychic attack, dude. Then they're like ripe for psychic attack. Like ripe. Like all your spiritual defenses are down. And I tell you something else too. You know what else is a fucking Ouija board?
What's that?
Tarot cards. If you don't know what the fuck you're doing with tarot cards, it's the same fucking principle. You can invite some bad shit into your fucking home. Like people have to be initiated into this shit, man. You got to know how to protect yourself, and keep negative energy and shit from you. You got to know the rules, because if you ask the tarot cards like the same questions over and over again, the spirit of the tarot card will get mad at you, and it'll start manifesting like your worst fears and shit. Because it's like a sign of a lack of faith. Like when you're dealing with, like, it's very important to have faith when you're dealing with these higher beings and spirits and shit like that. Because they're impressed by your faith and belief. That's what powers them. That's what keeps them sustained. Remember we talking about that belief shit, about the house and shit like that? So then when you show lack of faith and you start doubting and shit, that's like feeding them like fucking like dog shit.
Yeah, this circles back to what we were talking about earlier with erasing the memories and kind of dumbing people down, because the way that they have us thinking is that this stuff doesn't even exist. There's no other dimensions. Well, they'll tell us that there's other dimensions, but they won't tell us how much a part of our everyday lives. This stuff is spirits, ghosts, psychic protection. They want to dumb us down to
I
make
mean,
us
mermaids are
vulnerable.
real too. Mermaids are real. I saw one of them motherfuckers. Mermaids are real.
You saw one?
Fuck yeah, I saw a mermaid before, man. In fucking swimming one day in the fucking in Seal Beach one day, man. A surfboard like kind of crashed me down. Like, you know, I'm surfing and shit. And the fucking board, man, like this wave slammed me down to the ocean surface, man. I kind of lost weight, man. I felt this being, but it helped me though.
It helped you? Like
Yeah.
you were in trouble?
Yeah, I mean, I got slammed down to the ocean surface in the wind.
Oh, well, that's dangerous. I mean, that
I mean,
could
man, people
kill
get
you.
killed, man. You get paralyzed surfing and shit.
Yeah. Heck yeah.
Yeah. So I just got to, you know, and me being magical myself, you attract that shit. Because you're magical beings. You attract. I'll tell you something else, man, too, man. So I talked to the spirit of Yimi Yaya, and Yimi Yaya is kind of like a mermaid, right? And like all the shit that's happening, global warming and shit, that's Yimi Yaya, man. She's pissed the fuck off. Because apparently, like whatever they're doing, like there's a special breed, you know, because like the ocean's still uncharted. Like,
True.
like the ocean is truly like the last frontier. Space too, but the ocean is just as mysterious as space.
They have similarities.
You know, I mean, it's just the mysteriousness about it. It's just as mysterious as outer space.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So it's like
Yeah.
shit, like it's like shit in the ocean, dude. That like we don't even know what's going on there, right? But like apparently, like there's a breed of like marine species down there that's like her species, and whatever we're doing in global warming is harming that species.
Yeah. There are lots of videos and bodies that they found, right? That are like look like they're mermaids, right? But then I noticed something. I mean, I'm kind of going deep with this here, but if you pay attention, it's like you'll hear a story, right? And they'll be
Mhm.
talking about mermaids and somebody found a body or something like that. And then what you'll see is you'll see them release fake videos of a mermaid that looks like obvious CGI or looks like something stitched together. In my
Oh
opinion,
man,
they
you
do that
nailed
to
it, dude.
hide it.
You nailed it, dude. That's the CIA's purpose. Remember I told you in the beginning to debunk. That's the Man in Black's purpose to keep all that shit from us.
They literally scrub the internet.
Yeah, it's to debunk it. That's exactly what it is. That all they do is debunk to keep it from us. I met a guy one day, man, because it's trip, man. When you start to vibrate, I'm not saying I vibrate at a high vibration, but I fuck with magic and shit, and I try to be cool and shit because I'm not an arrogant motherfucker, man. But I fuck with it. You know what I mean? And I play
Sure,
with it. And I
sure.
try to live by the principles of magic, and
Yeah, me too.
I try to be honorable and ethical and shit in the practice and shit like that. And I try to be selfless when I do it and shit like. So I attract like a lot of weird, you know, interesting people to me. You know what I mean? So like, there's like, I used to live in Studio City on Whitsett, and on Whitsett there's like a golf course there, right?
Mhm.
And it's this diner inside this golf course, right? So I'm in there I just start chatting it up with him. He had a weird energy, kind of almost look translucent a little bit. And he just starts talking to me, dude, because I had an astrology book by Jan Spiller I was reading, and he knew everything about the book and shit like that. So we just start talking it up, right?
Yeah.
And he tells me that he was ex-CIA, right?
Oh
And we
shit.
talk, yeah, and he said, and you know, he's older now, he's older man, and he's kind of done with it, and he just liked me. I guess he could feel my because they're kind of spiritual too, man. Don't get me wrong, like they, you know, they fuck with shit.
Yeah, like the CIA, I've been realizing this is that pretty much everything about them is occulted.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
all magic, ghosts and
yeah.
goblins.
It's a secret society.
Yep.
Like the deeper you go, it's a secret society. But yeah, but like so you know what he told me his sole mission was as a CIA agent. What their sole mission is
What's that?
to spiritually depower the citizens of the United States.
Hmm. You know, that brings up a good point, Dr. Robert, because, and this is something that you hear people bring up from time to time. They say, look at all this, look at all this reach that the CIA and the FBI have. Like they literally, in the NSA, they literally like read our text messages and stuff like that. Yet pedophilia and sex trafficking is bigger than it's ever been. So why don't they do a damn thing about it?
Oh, you asked me a question?
Sure.
Or do you have an answer for it before I get mine?
Well, my answer would be because they're the ones behind it, or they're somehow involved with it.
Yeah, you know why? Human sacrifice.
Mm-hmm.
That's why these indigenous girls, they come, it's human sacrifice because they're experimenting. Those, it's the same. Look, man, spirits, like when you start giving them offering shit, man, it escalates.
Oh hell
Like it
yeah.
starts small, so they start asking for more things. You know, now I want the blood of a virgin. I want the blood of a little girl. Or I'm gonna reverse everything I did for you. Cause see, like basically when magic is reversed, basically, that's whatever the spirit you're dealing with, he just completely cuts you off. So then you get that karmic backlash.
Well, hey, you know the story of Dracula?
Yeah, Vlad the Impaler.
Yeah, you know that crazy guy from the story. I think his name was Renfield or Renflo or something like
Oh yeah,
that.
his,
Like
his
first,
Ace Coon
first he'd
Boom.
eat a fly, and then
Yeah,
he'd have a spider eat the fly. Then something would eat the spider, and then something would eat whatever ate the spider, and then finally at the end of it, he would eat like the biggest creature that ate all these other creatures. Like he wanted to just absorb their life force.
yeah, that's what that's just all about, dude. That's what the spirits are doing. That's why blood is, like that's what voodoo, like cut the chicken heads off and all that shit. And then some of the darker voodoo, like the voodoo people want power, they start killing children and shit.
Yeah. Oh man.
It becomes intoxicating. But the CIA is that type of organization.
I believe it. Something kind of like that happened to me where I was experimenting with this magic and stuff, and I got these demons to talk to me, and they're asking like first I just gave them some of my blood, right?
Yeah.
No big deal. And then they asked for like more. They wanted like an actual sacrifice, and that's when I quit all that shit. I mean, I could say that I quit
Did
that.
you get any bad luck after that?
Some very bad things were happening in my life. It was probably the
Oh
darkest time of
man.
my whole
Oh
life.
man, let me tell you something. Let me tell you one of your funny story.
Hell
So
yeah, I do.
check this out, man. So I was in law school, right? Like I'm a pretty charismatic guy. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So like, I was always talkative in class, and then in between class and shit and studying, I would do Tai Chi on the line and shit. You know what I mean? So like, I
Mhm.
had like a lot of chicks and shit into me and shit, right? And law school's a very racist place.
I believe it.
You get where I'm coming from? So at one point, man, like these guys got jealous of me, right? So like they planned to like beat me up, like physically harm me.
Uh huh.
So I got these mysterious tickets to what they call like in this school right here. You see it? Southwestern Law School.
Yeah.
Ask them about the voodoo boy.
Oh, you got a
Oh,
reputation.
yeah, yeah. So so like I go to this thing, right? And then all of a sudden, man, like I know because this was this one guy, and this girl's name was like she was fine too. She was like Persian, and she was into me, right? And I didn't want anything to do
Persian.
with
Mm.
her. And she used to stalk me, kind of, right? And I told him, man, I said, look, man, if your girls study over here, man, I'll study upstairs. And I said, man, look, man, I don't want any motherfucking problems, dude, right? So I guess some motherfuckers took it as weakness, right? Because I'm just
Yeah.
trying, because I know I'm black too, man. I can't really trip up there. You know what I mean? That kicked my black ass out so fast, it'll make my head spin. You know what I mean? And I pretty much got a golden ticket, man. That's an exclusive club. You feel where I'm coming from?
Yeah, I know.
So next day, man, I'm walking, man. I used to hang out with this blonde chick named Bridget, and she was from Chicago. She was a real nice girl. We used to study together and shit. And Bridget Hour, and she's back in Chicago now because she couldn't pass the bar out here, so I think she took it in Chicago, passed it out there, and went back home. So I'm walking like into the library, and that's like the Bullocks window over there, and this guy, like this Indian guy, like Indian from India, like he opens up the door for her, right? And then he puts up my hand, but he says, not you, right? So almost, dude, I almost like grabbed that motherfucker by his neck real quick, right? But I caught myself. I said, I'm gonna have to be smart, right? So then finally, man, when I went to this thing, right, I'm at this club and shit. And luckily I brought my cousin Weasel with me. And Weasel's like, we grew up together, man. He's a Crip. And he's just straight gangster to this day. He got like a weed business now. He got his own strand of weed and shit. He's a rapper. He raps with like Sugar Free and all them. He's like part of Sugar Free's group. Like they call themselves like the Pomona City Riders. Like Gangsta Weasel Loc. You can find him online. Gang, he did like a cut with Redman and shit like, but he's like a gangster rapper, like a real gangster too. Like the motherfucker like beat Corrupt's brother up one day. Like DJ Corrupt.
I heard of him.
Yeah, like he's from the dog pound. He got a brother, right? But his brother tried to get
That's Corrupt with a K, right?
Yeah, got to get him with my cousin Weasel. My cousin Weasel beat his motherfucking ass. He looked like an. They said my cousin beat his ass, got in his car. I guess they walked down the street, drove up the street, got in his car, and beat his motherfucking ass again.
Damn. Damn, a double beating.
Right? So what am I talking about? Oh, so I'm back at this law school, right? So
yeah. He wouldn't let you in.
So like I go to this party and shit, we there, you know what I mean? And then all of a sudden, man, like I feel these motherfuckers getting aggressive with me, kind of like bumping me, and then one kind of like push me, right? So I said these motherfuckers doing right. So I got mad, right? So I knew who the ringleader was, the guy, the girls, right? So I walked up to him with his down, he was being all colorful shit. And I walked up to him and I snuck up on him real carefully, and I ran my finger up his spine and I whispered in his ear and I said, and he turned snow white. And then after that, all of them start panicking and shit, right? Because they knew I was from Louisiana and shit. And I was already predicting girls' futures and shit up there and shit, right?
Yeah.
So then like the next day, I said, I'm gonna get these motherfuckers, right? So my aunt, because hypnosis too is props too. And what I did right there, hypnosis do is called a shock induction, right? And the shock induction is like this. They do it all the time, man. I tell you, you want to give somebody like a quick mind fuck, like make him like deathly afraid of you in like 5 minutes.
Sure.
It's called a pattern interrupt, right? So basically, like you have a tough guy coming, he's talking shit, and he'll come up to you, start talking. You say, "Look, man, it's cool, man. That's cool, man. Nah, man. I'm sorry, man. Just chill out, man. I'm just trying to kick it, right?" Then he'll come back again. You do it 2 times, right? He'll come through. You do it a few more times so you get used to you acting that way. Then the last time you just snap on, did I tell you, motherfucker? I put your motherfucking neck. And all of a sudden, man, he gets paralyzed because he is expecting you to act the exact same way. But because you flipped on him, you know what I mean? You all of a sudden, like, it's kind of like violently all of a sudden get like thrown into like cold water or some shit. You see what I'm saying? So it like fucks your brain up. It's called a pattern interrupt, right?
Yeah.
So basically what I did, I hit him with a shock induction. So then like I brought I had these dolls called Wanga dolls that my mainly sent me, right? Wanga dolls are kind of like voodoo dolls, except like they have like a specific purpose. So like you have a Wanga doll for money, Wanga doll for love, maybe a Wanga doll for sex. You get the gist, right?
Yeah, they all have a different purpose, different energies.
You're powerful shit. Like, I mean, like I was manifesting shit with these motherfuckers, right? In fact, I kind of abused them. So I'll tell you a story, but like, because like when people don't realize, man, like spirits don't corrupt us. We corrupt spirits. Like we corrupt spirits with the type of desires we have. Like we want to force our wills on somebody and make them love us. All we want is money and power so we can rule and dominate people. So when we ask the spirits to partake in that type of energy, right? They become that type of energy.
Never looked at it that way, but that's true.
You get where I'm coming from?
Because why would anybody even, I mean, for the most part anyway, why would anybody even mess with any of this unless they wanted something or they're trying to get some kind of cheat going?
But I have some good relationships with spirits, dude. Like I have like a djinn named Sebastian. And he's my ace come boom. And and at first I didn't want to fuck with him, but I'm like, dude, I'll fuck with you, dude. Because he liked me. He kind of like came to me, I dream, and he liked me. And I was like, okay, well, we got to do good. I want us to be superheroes. Y'all fuck, we got to be like superheroes. And I made him promise, man, because he liked me. So I kind of won him over. So I'm kind of like, so through me, he's helping me out, but through me, he's kind of getting salvation.
He's redeeming himself.
Yeah, so we kind of made this pact. Yeah. So, but long story short, so I bring these dolls, right, for special effect, right? So I kind of pull them out, and I'm showing them to like I had the librarian was my friend in the library, right? Named Scott.
Yeah.
So we just talk all the time, dude. Laughs. So Scott is laughing because Scott was real. So he's a white guy. He was real. So he knew what I was doing. So like I'm showing him the dolls, and I said, I'm gonna get these, man. I'm kind of like speaking on my outside of my neck, like, yeah, I show these motherfuckers. They don't know what the fuck they fucking with. I'm putting a curse on these motherfuckers. So all the boys, they panicking and shit, right? So when I come outside to the quad after class, we have this quad area we were kicking in kind of like around lunch. Everybody be out there, right?
Yeah.
So all the guys are huddled and they're staring at me. And I'm with the security guards, my friend, right? And I used to like, bring them food and talking because they're really the only black people there that kind of understand me because they from the hood. So we would always chop up. So he turned his back on them, right? For me, right? And I'm like stalking them like this. I said, you motherfuckers don't know what the fuck you was fucking with. I said, I'm pure Creole Cajun voodoo. I will steal your fucking sleep at night, right? And they're fucking like shaking and shit like this. And at one point, I see they're so terrified, right? That I break through their ranks, right? I go right in between their ranks, like hit of them, right? And I say, just as I thought. And I point at them. I say, I knew I wouldn't have to throw a punch against any of you. I can break you with my will. The motherfuckers bowed down and I walked away. And I didn't have trouble with the motherfuckers since. And all the girls and shit was chasing me around the school. All the weak guys that come to the library and study around me. It was funny than a motherfucker. And then that same Indian guy, remember that Indian guy I told you, who kind of like blocked my arm like this and said, not you. Like I'm in the library and I'm studying upstairs. So we'd either take the stairs or we can take this elevator up, right? So we were both going downstairs to the basement because I like to study in the basement because it's real quiet. So then when he saw me by the elevator and I was next to him, he was literally doing this. Praying and shit, like right next to me and shit, dude. I had them shaking in their motherfucking boots. And I walked down, they put their heads down, wouldn't look at me. It was funny to the motherfucking man. The professors were doing the same thing. The professors was acting scared of me and everything too. But I let them motherfuckers go, man. I said, you motherfuckers, you think you playing by the side? I said, I'm gonna give me a little Cajun justice. Because I knew if I beat them up, right, they'd kick my black ass, right. But that's just psychological.
Yeah.
So I hit him in a different way. So you gotta outsmart the enemy. Whatever the enemy wants you to do, you do the opposite.
I like that.
See, AOC did that. To be honest with you, that's when I kind of like fell in love with her, man. Like she's a brilliant strategist because that's what she did to Ben Shapiro. Remember, Bill Shapiro tried to kind of like bloat her into a debate, and she goes, "I don't have to answer anybody catcalling me," right? And she took him. She took him out of his game. See, that's how you do it. You don't let the enemy determine the battlefield. You want your battlefield. So she took him out of his battlefield and he was in uncharted territory at that most. And that's when you notice he started going downhill.
Because his whole thing is being like this master debater. He was trying to sucker her in so he could do his thing.
Yeah. And then she started to attack him in other ways. I completely took him off his square.
See, these are tips that like everybody out there could use, whether it's in your work life, your personal life, shit going on social media, people challenging you.
Yeah. But other than that, man, so that was a funny story, man. So how long we got to talk, man? Or is it almost the end or what?
We got a little bit longer. I mean, I don't know if your phone's about to die. That's something that happens to us sometimes.
It's getting there, but like, I give like 30 more minutes or so. Because my daughter's over here, man. I gotta look in on her. She over on the phone gossiping with a little friend because she had like selling Girl Scout cookies and shit today.
Well, let's get back into the race relation stuff a little bit more. What do you think of Black Lives Matter? Yay, nay?
That's a hard one because it depends on what you think Black Lives Matter. If you think it's like the people and the spirit behind that movement, yeah, you know what I mean? Black Lives, that's a beautiful sentiment. But like the actual people, man, like what they did was kind of scummy.
You
like all that money, like all that, no, because it's like, what are you guys doing with the money, man? You know what I mean? You
Mm-hmm.
know how much that money could improve like black neighborhoods and shit like that, man? Like, you know,
I've thought stuff like that. Like what? Like you guys are getting all this money. What's it going to? Like socialism or communism or
I
something
mean, are
like
you going to
that?
build a community with it, or are you just lining your pockets? Like that money means nothing unless we put it to use, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, okay, so we know HCPUs, well, how do they call them, motherfucker, historical black colleges, right? You know, the only thing really keeping them from being like D1 schools is like stadium size like that and shit like that. You know what I mean? So you get all these millions of dollars. Why can't you can at least start construction there to build those schools up to match the Ivy League in the and you know in the Division 1 schools like UCLA and all that shit. You gonna come from? You got the money to do it. They're donating all this money to your organization. So when you think about the national advancement of colored people, what in the fuck are you advancing? Yourself?
Hmm.
You gonna come from?
Yeah. Well, it goes back to what you said at the beginning of this interview. You know, people that don't trust these people that are pretending to help.
Yeah. They're not, dude. They're just lying their own. A girl did a TikTok video I posted too, man. She talks about like the majority of the white organizations that say they're like for black and brown people, dude. Like only like a fraction, like 1% of that money actually goes to our communities. The rest just
Hmm.
goes to that organization and lines their pockets and shit like that. And that's basic like interest conversions. You know about that, right? Concept of interest
Vaguely,
convergence.
vaguely.
All right, that's a concept by Derek Bell in critical race theory. And interest convergence just basically says, okay, whenever there's racial progress, like black people can only achieve racial progress if the interests of black and white people converge. And white people kind of have to like realize they'll benefit more from it. That's why affirmative action is kind of like a sucker's deal. Because as soon as we got affirmative action, they because that's law is just writing our reality, right? So all of a sudden, they just magically, with the stroke of a pen, made the white woman an oppressed class. Even though that goes against what we understand, like as Christian marriage, right? The ring represents the man and the woman becoming one, right? So
Yeah.
you are what your husband is, right? There's no actual division between you and your husband, right? But they created that division to undermine black wealth. So now, if we make the white woman an oppressed class and make her, you know what I mean, what's it called? Make her qualify for affirmative action, right? Then we can pretend like we're really doing for black people and giving the racial justice. We're actually just giving that money and all those opportunities and benefits back to myself. So what they let in, what they kicked out through the front door, they let back in through the back door.
Yeah, and then there's the fact that going back to what you're saying, they got women out in the workplace, and who benefits from that? Well,
Like
the people that own the businesses, yeah, the corporations, the
and not
system,
only and who else? The white man benefits from it, right?
the rich white men.
So now he's getting sex and slave labor from his wife, like money now. Because at first, like
Yeah,
he would kind of
good
give her
point.
an allowance. He would give her allowance. You get where I'm coming from to kind of like, clean around. Now she's making money. So now they're doubling their wealth.
Hmm. Yep,
By,
and
by
succeeding in destroying the family at the same time.
yeah. So it's like the secret thing they're doing. You get coming from. So now if we just run a scam on the black people and you pretend to be oppressed, right?
Yeah,
And then you go out there, now you can get jobs. So now you can get these jobs. So because the game is basically what? Not to give our wealth to the other side. So they do everything in their power not to give their wealth to the other side.
yeah.
That's really what that game is. We have to do whatever we can to stop from giving our wealth to the other side.
Because the people that have the wealth at some point in the past, they figured out how to control this whole monetary system. And they
Yeah,
realized that rather than being kings and queens, they would have more power if they were rich instead of having titles.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Because those things were stigmatized. Because that's what racism does. It refines itself. You know, come because really it's an evil demonic force. Like they cast a curse on black people. Like in those beings and demons and shit, they taught them how to do that to us. That's what those
Oh
secret
shit.
societies doing. So see, when they communicate with these beings, they teach them all that shit. This is how you control these people. These people are susceptible to this. We've been studying you life forms.
The Nazis, again, they were
Yeah, yeah,
getting all this stuff from what they said were white aliens from Aldebaran.
yeah,
They were getting white supremacy from aliens.
yeah. Yeah,
Damn.
like that whole structure system, mind control. That's sorcery.
Yeah.
It's just
There,
sorcery.
there is a clear link between the occult world and white supremacy.
Yeah, people don't understand it, dude. I'm telling you, man. Think about it, man. Like here, you have a group of people, right? Just common sense wise, right? We've been brutalized ever since we've been in this country, right? Like our neighborhoods have been burnt down. We've been raped, killed, called every name in the book, made to hate ourselves, and we still love these motherfuckers. Like we'll marry them and everything. The people who raped and kidnapped your fucking people, burned them, ruined your names, stumped on you. And that's not even the past. Like they have like millions of jobs. They're still not hiring black people. And that's by choice. You get where I'm coming from?
Yeah, exactly. All these guys that
Yep.
say that they're pro black, they're pro this, they're pro that, yet they don't hire any black people.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? So then they're running all this game on you, and then you're still like, oh, I love you. Oh, love. Love. I tell you, motherfucker, man, love is gonna kill you, motherfuckers, cuz. Like love, that's just slave murder. Love. Here they are beating you in the head. Here, love. Love gonna conquer all, I tell you. All you gotta do is believe in love. Let's all go march on the bridge. They gonna crack our skulls open. Some won't be able to go home to your families. Some of you gonna be in wheelchairs. But even through all that pain, suffering, and brutality, we gon' love. We gon' love. Not giving you a job, starving. Here you go. Lord, that's insanity.
I'm gonna have to sample that.
That's insanity. That's pure insanity. The first law of nature is self-preservation. That's what I told him on Twitter today. I said, you don't let the fucking man who kidnapped you, put you in fucking chains, whip your backs, rape your women and men in front of you, cut unborn babies from the womb, tell you what morality is. He's going, I said, if I did that to you, and I knew you hated me with intensity, you go out there and run, I'm going to program you with, remember we talked about the trauma?
Yeah.
I'm going to program you with, revenge is bad. You got to love. God gonna give you another place. If you kill me, you're gonna go to hell. Even though, see the boogeyman, even though I'm beating you, even though I come in there sometimes and I degrade and dehumanize you and I pull your wife's clothes off and I say, Charlie, if you get up, Charlie, I'm gonna put you on that chair, whip your back, and then I'm gonna put salt on your wound. And you sit there and you just have sex with his wife right in front of you and just denigrate the man, right? And then we come here and we go, I'm gonna love him. I'm gonna marry him because love conquers all. And you motherfuckers still in the poorhouse. That's crazy talk. That's crazy.
Society gets into, we got to do this for this group. We got to do this for that group. Yet we still have not done anything for black people. We skipped over that.
Yeah. They don't want to do it because they're afraid of our retribution. See, I tell people all the time, man, integration is just a battle strategy. All integration is a euphemism for keep your friends close and your enemies closer. Think about it. We had our own neighborhoods, man. We were doing our own thing. Like we were building prosperous neighborhoods. We were getting married. We were loving one another. Black women were actually working because we can do that without each other. We were building banks, movie theaters, ice cream parlors. They called it Black Wall Street. That means it was successful, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was a successful Negro project, right? What did they do?
They did many things to break it all up.
Yeah, they burnt it down, killed, bomb raped, stole all the wealth, and then they imposed integration on us. Where we don't have our own businesses, where we can't give ourselves loans, where we can't feed our families. Then they deny us jobs. Then they continue to dehumanize us. Because remember, white supremacy is magic, right? It needs an
Yes.
energy source, right? It's negative magic, right? It must feed on dehumanization, suffering, pain, and degeneration. That's what fuels and feeds it. That's what gives us this energy. They're feeding off us. That's what narcissists do. Narcissists are psychic vampires. You need your narcissistic supply. So I can't let these niggas think better than me, right? Because then I'm going to feel low. So I got to break them and make them feel bad about themselves and make them love me and make them look up to me so I can feel good about myself. See, I am. And then they create these illusions for themselves, right? Like I'm the white savior. Like I know I did this. I know we did very bad things to you guys. I know you, but we're sorry. We're not going to give you any money. We're not going to repair the damage. We're not going to give you therapeutic care. We're just going to say we're sorry and we're going to continue with business as usual.
And you ever notice how they don't have anybody in front of the people like yourself who actually knows a thing or two? The black people that they allow on the stage don't seem to know a lot
I'll tell you
about
something
this.
right now. I'll tell you somebody I do trust. I think ALC is the one. And what people don't fail to realize, dude, is like she's playing a long game strategy. Like, and this is what I mean by progressives shoot themselves in the foot, man. Like the object of the game was what? To get as many progressives who thought like you as the Democratic Party as possible, right?
Yes.
Because that's the only way you can affect change. In the law, we call that a condition proceeding, right? Like in a contract, like the contract is only triggered on the condition of an event, right? So I will pay you X amount of dollars when this happens. So you won't get paid unless this event happens, right? So just because you have 1, 2, 3 progressives in office, right? That's not enough to impact the change you want. And remember, war is an art of deception. So you don't want to engage in symbolic victories, right?
Yeah.
Because you're not really getting anything and you're wasting everybody's time, right? So you don't want to get out there and just see. Remember, like I told you about, like the cunning white supremacist, right? The wise warrior, he deceives you, right? He gets you to be his friend, right? So you can't go in there like a kamikaze pilot and be like, Medicare for all. I don't give a fuck. Even though we're not going to win, I'm still going to vote against it. I'm not going to win though, but I'm still going to vote against it. You gonna come from? So now you got people in there hating you. They feel like you're stubborn. So you just demonstrated to the whole world, dumb fuck. You don't even know what politics is. Politics is the art of compromise. It's the art of negotiation. If you have people thinking you're irrational and you're not going to bend and you're not going to make compromises, they're not going to make deals with you. You're a waste of time.
True.
You can't just go in there and tip your hand that early. You got to be somewhat kind of like what? Deceptive. You got to pretend like you're on board. You got to kind of pretend like they can't see you coming, like you're kind of one of them. Then they start making more concessions with you and trusting you and shit. Like, remember, that's what we do, right? That's cult, right? You get them to trust you more. You start telling stories. You become friends. They start vouching for you. They start liking you. You get where I'm coming from?
Mm-hmm.
Now, if they would have pumped her up and been unified, they probably would have had more progressive office than they do now. But they created doubt against their own party. You know why?
Why?
Because it's a lot of pundit dumb fucks who only like read Sun Tzu and memes and haven't really read it and haven't really like internalized it and understand what it means. So getting out here trying to give all this advice and tell them what to do and shit, right? And they don't even understand the strategy and how to execute the strategy. You want to get as many. So then once you get like 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 100 progressives in there, now when they unite, dude, that has a powerful impact now. Now you can make some fucking change. So if you make everybody like your progressive candidates and make them look like the shit, you're gonna create more trust in progressives, and that's how you get more people. But they're so dumb as fuck because many of them have that fucking white arrogance where they think they know every fucking thing because they're white and she's black. Right? You get where I'm coming from? That they know they no, listen to me though. They know the right way to go. You get where I'm coming from? Where if they would have understood the strategy, we got to get as many progressive products. It's a long game. It's not going to happen right away. And now you got more, but they could have had way more. But they're too busy backbiting one another and talking about one another. And they know more than everybody. You know, and not realizing that we're all going to have some minor philosophical differences. We're not going to agree on everything, but especially in the climate we are in right now, we all agree we got to get white supremacy the fuck out of here.
Well, let me ask you a question. Have you noticed this phenomena where it's like on social media, you see all these videos popping up of black people being violent or black people attacking white Psyops. People? Yeah, I mean, this has got to be on purpose. I mean, this is really infuriating a lot of white people, and it's giving them I mean, hey, look, I live in the hood. I live in probably the worst neighborhood you can possibly live in. And I don't want to say, but let's say it's in the Seattle area.
I get it. I've been to about Seattle's cool, man. I've been to Queen Island a few times.
But
the food is good out there.
I can go to any neighborhood. I can go to a black neighborhood. I don't see violence. I could go 5 times in a row. I could go 10 times in a row.
That's true. That's true. You're absolutely right. And I don't either, man. It's just, a lot of crimes are just crimes of opportunity anyway.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Crime function in our neighborhood the same way it functions. Now there's gang beefs. You gonna come from? But that's because that's because of what they did. You gonna come, but you're a civilian, like you have warriors, soldiers, you have civilians. Every now and then you might have a civilian casualty, but they're not really after you.
If you're going into the hood, if you're not challenging anybody, if you're not mad dogging them,
and it's the same way.
Throwing your hands up.
My father taught me that. It's the same way. He said, "Look, son, when I was going to jail, he said, look, son, he said the people that get their ass whooped in jails are people in there sticking out their chest and acting all hard and shit. He said, just go in there, carry yourself like a man, you know what I mean, and be cool." And he said, when I was in jail, he said, I didn't have a problem out of anybody. He said, I just carried myself like a man and kept to my motherfucking self. He said, I made a few friends in the social, but for the most part, man, like, I didn't do any favors to anybody. I didn't take any gifts from anybody. I made sure I didn't owe anybody anything or ask anybody for anything. So I had really no ties for, you know what I mean? I wasn't like engaged in any activity. You get where I'm coming from? That might trigger some, some sour emotions. You get where I'm coming from?
Sure.
But basically he said it's the same thing, man. You just got to carry yourself, understand the politics, man, and carry yourself. You don't have to be hard. I tell you, man, I know a lot of punk ass busters who went to the fucking pen. I know a nigga right now, man, we used to beat his ass all day long, went to the pen and shit and survived and everything. And he's still doing shit. But it's a lot of punk ass busters that get caught and go to the gym and to the pen and shit. That don't make them shit far. In fact, man, my cousin Weasel again, my cousin Dre, man, got out the pen. And he feel like he went to the pen. He got some stripes now, right? And my cousin Weasel, gang, he never been to the pen. He's kind of like a smart gangster, right? But they talking shit. And my cousin, okay, nigga, you think he went to the pen, nigga? Went in the house, put on some tennis shoes, came out there and dusted his ass. Said, nigga, I don't give a fuck if you went to the pen, nigga. I know a lot of busters went to the pen, nigga. Fuck that shit, nigga. Beat his motherfucking ass. That shit's just an illusion, dude. Like, if you buy into that shit, because a lot of that shit is game too. It's just like, in the animal kingdom when the gorilla beats his chest and shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The gorilla's not really trying to have it because he's warning you. Even with him, like he's trying to avoid actual combat. If he can like just beat his chest and stand taller than you and get you to back off, that's cool.
Nobody has to get hurt.
Yeah, he don't want to engage. First, it's just common sense, dude. And a lot of people don't have common sense because again, we're full of trauma and then we're pumped up on this like hip hop gangster music. See,
Mm-hmm.
they know what they're doing. Because see, they weaponized psychology a long time ago.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about this. I wanted to ask you about the rap industry specifically. Is this mind control too? Like, what are they trying to send us?
Most definitely. You can see the dude. I tell people all the time, man, we can't be fools anymore. There's a pattern, right? A real historical pattern. They're breaking up the families in slavery, right? Then they burned our communities. We had solid family, and the potential to be like real solid, like families. You go coming from like a
Mm-hmm.
real community, like what I call like a self-sustaining community. You know where I'm
Ah,
coming from? Where
yeah,
your
I want to get
dollars
into
come,
that.
where your dollars just stay in your community for a long time before it goes outside. That's what I define as it's not like that's what I define. I'm just articulating words, but that's
It's
what
a
I
community outside of their system.
yeah, exactly. Well, this community dependent on its own system. Like it's connected to the greater system, but it's not dependent on the greater system. Like they're still Americans, right? It's just like a black neighborhood that was founded by blacks that got their own businesses and banks and shit like that. So it's not really like racism or anything there. They grew up together. They love each other because what creates community is like that mutual struggle. You know where I'm coming from? Like
Yeah.
building something together. Like you have more respect for it. That's Sister Johnson's ice cream shop. Girl, I remember when she built that ice cream. I remember when her husband was out there, he and his friends, they cut down those logs and they built that thing and built that girl ice cream parlor. And she started selling ice cream. You got coming from? There's a history behind it.
Yeah, everybody knows everybody.
You know what I mean? But it's a love for that. You saw the community give birth to it. And it's from actual members of the community.
Yeah, it's almost like a small town mentality.
Yeah, exactly. Mayberry.
Yeah.
You built this stuff together. You helped each other. You know what I mean? You know what, girl? You really make really nice pies and cakes. You need your own store. Next thing you know, let's take a donation so we can build Sister Hemsley over here a bakery store. We need a bakery store in community, and we all agree she make the best pies and cakes in the community. Let's go build Sister Hemsley over here a bakery store so she can enrich our community. You got from? We don't get to do that anymore. You know why? Because white people fucked it up.
Purposely.
Purposely. That is the key word. Purposely.
There's Rick Ross in the bringing the cocaine into the communities.
Yeah.
That's just another example of the sabotage and the parasitic exploitation of the black community in general.
Yeah. My phone's about to die for real, dude. Like,
oh yeah, I know. We got to be getting there. I got.
Well, we always talk again, man. I'm gonna send you those videos, man. I'll give you my number too. I'll email it to you.
Definitely. Let's wrap this up though, and let's go ahead and why don't you go ahead and hop up on the soapbox, say whatever final message you want to say to everybody, and then just plug whatever you want to plug.
I'm talking to the black community specifically.
Yeah, and the black community and everybody else.
But I'm gonna just make it clear to man. Give ALC a chance. I see a lot of promise in her. She's not really that corrupted. I've worked with her before in her team. She really does really good work for the community, like really good work for the community. She might not be passing bills, but she's taking care of her goddamn community. You get where I'm coming from? Like doing like little like mini commercials for like bakeries in the community. They get backpacks to children every school year. They donate, they raise a lot of money for community organizations to better help the people. She got all this millions of dollars for this hospital, to experiment with new techniques of like gang intervention and violence and shit like that, man. Like she has a community mindset, man. And it's just all these, these dumb fucks, man, who don't realize, man, like we have to stop engaging in magic. It's not going to happen overnight. But we got to support the best among us and try to replicate as many. And we can't do that by talking about our own and shitting on our own and shit, man. At one point, you got to trust the leader and have faith in their plan. And remember that the art of war is art of deception. You can't go in there like a fucking kamikaze pilot because you only get one shot. Right?
True.
Right? It's common sense. Allow her, give her the juice, give her the support. And the key is to eventually get and she's not taking over the Democratic Party. She's perfecting the Democratic Party. There's some good Democrats that were there before, but they couldn't get anything done because the Democratic Party in and of itself is not united. You get where I'm coming from?
Sure.
So then you have this new blood coming in here. You get where I'm coming from? Who has a plan and a strategy. In order for her to win, she has to unite people. Like get behind her, unite, and let her unite. And start having faith. And when you start getting more and more little small victories and shit, you start getting more self-esteem, you get more confidence, you get more motivation, you start coming out and you start voting, you put more in there. And also though, but she has to understand too, there is a lot of white racist progressives.
Yeah.
There are. And she needs to be able to call them out too. Like the union shit. Like unions fucked over black people a lot of times. Like I'm down for racial solidarity. You get where I'm coming from?
Mm-hmm.
But when people fuck you over, they have to sweeten the pot if they want your allegiance again.
Yeah.
You get where I'm coming from? Don't accept them with open. Remind them of their fucking crimes. And say, look, you're going to have to see. We want training for black people. We want to invest all this union money you're getting to create free trade schools for black people to make them more skilled workers. Teach them how to be mechanics and shit like that. We need you to take this union due money and correct the damage and show us you really want solidarity. Like my English professor used to tell me. She said, don't tell me, show me. You get where I'm coming from? Don't say this.
Speak solutions.
Yeah, exactly. But spell it out. Be descriptive. Don't say like I love you. Say your love reminds me of the sun. When the rays fall from the sky and reflect on the top of the ocean water. And the reflection makes you feel alive and free and one with the universe. See how the other one is more delicious?
Mm.
You know what I mean? You want to describe reality and shit like that. But that's about it, man. Like we have to believe in somebody. And you're not going to always get everything you want. There're going to be some small philosophical difference. But one thing we have to understand, dude, we have to get rid of white supremacy. Not going to win. Like this nation has to heal. And the only way this nation heal, they're going to have to give up that money. They're going to have to repair all the damage they've done. And damage are done, man. That means not dating us and shit too. Because you realize you broke up the black family. You get where I'm coming from? You get where I'm coming from?
For sure.
Like it was not of their doing. You want to repair that damage. You want to give them a chance to learn to love each other again, since you took their ability to love from them. So why are you interfering in that? We have to learn to love each other again because you guys deliberately destroyed our ability to love one another.
So true.
You get where I'm coming from? That's what being moral is. That's what justice is. Justice is making the people whole. You don't make the people whole by engaging in the same shit that broke them up. By taking advantage and fitting from the trauma you caused. That's not justice.
That's the truth right there.
Yeah, but that's about it, man. And I love you, man. That was good, man. This is fun. I'm glad you gave me the opportunity. I never did this before, man.
Yeah, no,
I get to die and say, you know what, man? Somebody thought I was interested enough to ask me to do a podcast.
It was one tweet of yours that just struck a chord with me. I was like, this guy's smart. I got to have him on. It was simple as that.
I appreciate it, man. I'd like to talk to you more, man. I'm gonna send you my phone number, dude.
Okay, cool. Yeah, and definitely I want
And
to
I'll
do
send
this
you those
again.
videos.
For sure. Yeah. I always like to invite my guests back, especially if they got some stuff that's so original and so powerful as yourself. So I will definitely be in touch. We'll do a part 2. Absolutely.
Definitely, man. So we can talk about those videos, man. I'll send them to you. You can give me my phone number.
Okay. Yeah. I will catch you back on Twitter.
It was groovy, man. You have a good time, man.
All right, Dr. Robert. Thank you so much, my friend. I will talk to you next time.
Bye-bye.
There you have it. That was Dr. Robert. Wow. Powerful stuff. You know, I like to think of myself, and I say this a lot publicly, that I'm pro-black. And a lot of people might roll their eyes at that or say, "Oh, Daniel, he's becoming woke. He's woke now." No. I'm not woke. I'm not a liberal. I'm not even a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat. I'm just somebody that has eyes to see. And I've also said this before, the persecution and the oppression and all the stuff that we talked about, the surgical like tactics that are used against the black community, the Contra stuff, the Contra wars, the cocaine, the Tuscadilla experiments, the it literally goes on and on, right? The assassination of Martin Luther King, the blackmail of Martin Luther King, the things that have happened to the black community, to me, represent the oppression that we are all under, because it is so exaggerated with the black community. It is so forefront. It is something that everybody should be able to see. And we are literally programmed to be racist. And I people are going to hate this way I'm talking, because, you know, it just seems to fly right in the face of what a lot of the truth community believes, right? Because a lot of people are on this MAGA kick. They're on this whole kick about, like, you know, the white race are the victims, and they are. The white race gets exploited just as bad and oppressed. But to me, this stuff is important because it's kind of like flat earth. Once you get into it, you see how badly we are all lied to. And it's not important whether or not the earth is flat or the earth is round. It's the fact that we don't have any proof for a lot of the things that we believe. We are literally just under mind control. But hey, I need to take a little break here. We got to come back and do our after show program. There's a lot to talk about, but let's go ahead and cut to break for a little bit. We will play some music, and I will be right back with you in about 5-10 minutes.
Raising consciousness and awakening mankind. This is End of Days Radio.
We are live!
Fuck, man, I'm so far out of fucking stand like this. I don't know what's up. I can't get it. I just can't find it. You're not recording right now, man? Yeah. Fuck, you know, it's gonna play that same round.
We are live!
What the fuck was that? Weird.
Here I am left standing. I never had a gun. I'm still standing here now. Am I the only one? I can hear your footsteps. They always surround me. Just give me one good reason that I should believe. The end of days. Days. End of days. Days. Radio show. That's on. Yeah. Let's check it out. Let's see how it sounds.
We're back. My God, what a powerful interview. I knew that it would be good, but I suppose I didn't know it'd be that good. Man, we just covered everything. Sorry about the long silence. Using a pepperoni stick. I had to swallow. But I think now would be a good time to remind everybody that I am easy to contact. I should be doing this all the time, but I forget. But I want everybody to know that you can contact me at daniel@endofdaysradio@gmail.com. That's daniel@endofdaysradio@gmail.com. If you have a guest you want to suggest, if you have an opinion on something, if you have something you want me to read on the air, if you have something you want me to play, if you want to come on the show, if you want to be a guest on the show, hit me up, daniel@endofdaysradio@gmail.com. It's simple. It's my name, Daniel, the host, like it says right there. End of Days Radio, the name of the show, @gmail.com. And might I remind everybody that please donate to End of Days Radio. Your help is what I need. Thank you to everybody that has donated in the past. You guys have made this show sustainable. You have made it rich. You have made me rich, not rich monetary wise, but rich in spirit. You guys have done this for me because you wanting me to do this show makes me do this show. But when I do this show, I learn things. And when I learn things, I evolve spiritually. So you guys have fueled my entire process. You know, you want to talk about magic? How is that not magic? What you have done for me is certainly magic. Let's do our mind-blowing moment of the day. Mind-blowing moment of the day. Hold on, gotta do this. Oh, it's blowing my mind. Whoa. I'm getting too many of these little things back here. Like too many little cups and bottles. And I got this, my little decoration I made. You guys remember this? My little vase with the peacock feathers in it. This is actually an effigy. It has power. It protects me. But anyways, the mind-blowing moment of the day for today, I'd have to say that it was it was when Dr. Robert was talking about the psychic stuff. And it struck a chord with me because I've experienced the same phenomena lots of times. I've literally experienced the same phenomena more times than I can count. I'm talking about like connecting with people, being in some kind of resonance with them, like knowing what's going on with them. Not necessarily like reading their minds, but having some basic idea of their intent, just feeling it. That's happened to me more times than I could count. On our last show, we had Nina, who told us that she's psychic. This show, we had Dr. Robert, who also told us that he is psychic. All these people could not be mistaken, right? All these people that are experiencing this phenomena, they cannot be mistaken. That just doesn't make sense. There's more to it than that. Oh, what's this? What's this? Oh my God. There he is. He has been waiting in the wings, ready to pounce like a leopard in the darkness of the jungle,
It is
who
I.
patiently waits to strike.
It is I.
We are live.
Are you there?
We are live. I'm here. Oh, you're in a vehicle.
Yeah. We're going to go for a ride. Let's go for a drive.
All right. We're traveling. I like it. The show's on the road.
We got a truck in. Remember that Grateful Dead, that horrible Grateful Dead song, Trucking?
Trucking. Vaguely.
Trucking. You got to keep on trucking, trucking.
Keep on trucking.
Yeah.
I like that.
That's where that bumper sticker came from. Keep on trucking bumper sticker you see all around. Grateful Dead did a song. Yeah.
The Grateful Dead.
But goddamn, I missed your guest.
Oh no.
Your guest? Is he still on here?
No. It was a great interview. It was oh man, you gotta go back and listen to that.
Yeah.
That was fire. Hot fire.
I was listening to your last guest and that was hot fire. Shit.
Yeah, that was good as well. We're on a roll.
Sorry I couldn't tune in there on that one, Daniel. Almost couldn't tune in on this one, but wanted to catch you.
It's okay as long as you listen to the replay.
Well, I got family over tonight. So
that's the best thing about this show. You can listen live or you can listen wherever you can listen to podcasts on YouTube. You don't have to be there when it airs. You can pay attention afterwards.
My mom loves the show, but my dad and other people might not be down with some of the things you talk about, you know?
Yeah, like black magic and Satanists and
Black Jesus, yeah.
Black Jesus. That's offensive.
No, I'm teasing. Not at all to my parents.
It is to some.
Thank God I grew up with parents that were not racist. Thank God.
Yeah, that's a nice shirt, by the way.
Oh, you like that shirt?
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah, Todd, for those of you that are not viewing the show, the live show, Todd's wearing a very nice plaid shirt. He looks very country style.
Yeah, Utah. Like one of the Mormon pioneers.
Utah style.
So anyways, Daniel, man, you've been putting on so many incredible guests and shows here lately. Wow. Hopefully I didn't let you down on that last show, you know. Logan was on there.
No. I was hoping we could do a part 2, actually.
But I enjoyed Logan's, description. Wow. Right on, Logan.
And we're hoping that you will join us on the 25th of March because Logan is going to be joining us again.
Right on. I like Logan. I hope he's doing good.
Perhaps you could chime in.
Oh, totally.
And we could venture further into the great.
Totally. Man, you've been venturing down. The last show, I was listening to that last guest, that psychic. God damn, you're venturing down roads that their minds aren't even hearing this stuff.
Yeah.
They're not even hearing these concepts.
Yeah, Nina is a very nice person, and we've been talking for a long time about having her come on, but there's always so much else going on, and just it finally happened. I said, heck, what's going on here? I should have had her on a long time ago.
She's so smart.
Definitely. Getting a lot of feedback about Nina Howell.
Yeah, love that show.
She also had nice breastises.
She's very attractive, let's put it that way.
Definitely. I noticed that.
Mentally and physically, let's put it that way.
Yeah. You know what's funny, Todd, is we actually almost dated, but things didn't work out. But we're still
No
very
way.
close friends. Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Now I'm married to a hottie, and I've been married. I've been with hotties my whole life, man. So
Yeah.
you are blessed, then you are blessed.
Yeah. I mean, hey, if you just wait long enough.
So there's a few things we got to cover here. Are you at the end of the show? Have you done the mind blowing moment yet?
I've done the mind blowing moment, but I'm just cracking the surface as far as getting into our after show. I got several topics I wanted to go over, but I
Yeah.
also wanted to tell you, Todd, that I learned a new word. I learned that
Yeah.
another way that the I think you call them the ancient ones, you know,
Old
the
ones.
yeah, the old ones. Another name for them is the eldritch gods.
Oh yeah, eldritch. They put a dritch on the end. Eldritch.
Yeah, I like that word, eldritch.
Yeah, that's cool. That's a Lovecraftian word. Lovecraft. The reason a lot of people don't like him because he was very verbose. He says he wrote words that most people don't understand what they mean, so they get put off right away. But it's quite quaint because he was from the Victorian period, where people cared about things and made them more ornate. They ornated everything in the Victorian age. Look back in time. Look at architecture and structures and steel and fucking what they were doing back then. We've completely moved away from that. We're in a fucking minimalist phase. Less stuff,
There's still
better.
houses in Seattle that are from the Victorian period, and they are beautiful
They're
buildings, to say
beautiful.
the least.
A lot of Lovecraft stories, he sits and talks about the architecture of the build of the fucking house where the eldritch horrors are taking place in. But he'll sit and describe the house because he was into how people put awnings up and different classifications for architecture of structures of buildings at the time, houses, because they don't make them like that anymore.
No, they make everything
They
very
don't
square,
make them
cheap.
like that anymore. Remember that song? They
Nowadays,
don't
Todd,
make.
if you buy a new home, you can take your finger and push it against the wall, and your finger will go into the outside.
Yeah, they can poke through the fucking wall. That's so they can drive a tank through your house as they're coming to bring in the New World Order.
That's
Back
so
in
they
the
can
old days,
easily bulldoze our houses.
yep, back in the old days, they used to build houses of stones and fucking stone walls that you can't shoot through, or if you drove a tank in, it'd be hard, you know. Now they build
Yeah,
stuff out of balsa wood that can just poke your finger and it comes apart, so they can just come in and get you. Because
I want a
that's where
house
we're
that
at
can
right
stand
now.
up to a tank.
But Daniel, that's where we're at right now. The New World Order's here. Hello.
The New World Order started in 1776.
The end of the world, the New World Order, the end of days.
It all happened in 1776, the birth of the New World and the advent of the Illuminati, not the real Illuminati, but the Bavarian Illuminati.
Yeah. Yep. An amalgamation. You know, the Illuminati was an amalgamation of secret societies. Um, People that said, "Hey, we're going to go one step further above the Masons, and we want a one world government, and we're going to free everybody."
Exactly. We're going to enslave everybody so that we can free them.
Well, amongst the people that want to be free, there's always those that want to enslave, and that's why every movement gets turned. Every movement, that's why there's no sense in joining any movements today. Let's talk about this for a second, Daniel. You know how you got all these movements, stop the war, stop the this or that or whatever. As soon as you get above three people, there's an FBI guy or a CIA guy there, part of your movement.
Yeah, we probably have those types that are associated with the show, and I'm
I
hoping that
wouldn't be
it's not you.
surprised if their show's loaded with them.
Some even think that I'm one of them.
Sometimes I look at you and I think, man, you look like one of those NSA guys that sits in front of the computer all day down in the basement.
Yeah, I'm
So
spying
there's
on
times,
all of my listeners, and I'm whack, whack, whack.
There's times when I look at you and I think, is he one of those vacuums? Because that's a term used by the CIA.
A
Um,
vacuum. That's
a
interesting.
vacuum. Yeah, a vacuum is an asset, a person, or whatever that they use to suck in information.
Hmm.
Yeah, a vacuum can be a family member, an aunt, or an uncle you love. All of a sudden, you're talking to your aunt or your uncle, but he's asking you, "How's life been? What's going on?" And then you tell him everything. That's the old days, though, Daniel. You know when they used to tap phones. Now they
I
have
get those
everybody.
I get those people, Todd. They message me on social media and they want to talk about
Everything,
predictions and ancient history, and they basically want to know what I believe. They'll do anything to
everything.
find out what I believe or what I
Every,
think or what I've learned.
yeah, yeah, exactly. You know why? Because they've got the AI systems running. We've talked about this for a while now. Now they're getting more advanced. They're listening to every word and they're trying to figure out what are they interested in? What are they interested in? It's a computer and it's a bunch of people, but they're gathering everybody's interest and they're feeding it back to you in a loop so that you continue to generate more content for the AI to understand what we're talking about, what our connections are. There's been a lot of news lately, Daniel, about how advanced the AI is. The people that run the world are getting all giddy, excited. They're like, yes,
Yeah,
yes,
there's that new app. I think it's
yes.
called Chat TPG or something like that. It's like
Hmm.
everybody's talking about it.
Yeah, AI that'll sit and talk to you.
Yeah,
So
and
you
you know what?
want,
I saw this one thing where this guy made a video and the AI, this Chat GPT, whatever it's called, I probably have it wrong, but
yeah,
whatever it's called, it was
yeah,
saying that it was Nephilim.
yeah, right, exactly. And then I sat and listened to the conversation. I sat and listened to that, and it's guiding him in there. It's guiding him in there. It's the advanced knowledge. Hey, kids, you want to learn about magic? Come and ask your phone, how do I do magic? Right?
And they got Elon Musk talking about it to make it popular.
Hey, kids, want to learn how to summon demons? Um, King Solomon summoned 72 demons to build one of the greatest temples in the world.
And what's the difference between using an Ouija board and talking to the AI? I mean, is it random or is it not random? It's like who's moving the thing on the Ouija board, right? Who's
Yeah,
controlling the AI?
well, the Ouija board thing could be your own unconscious, like your vast untapped powers of your own brain. Moving the fingers, it could be anybody that's on a Ouija board. Could be just communicating information coming from a superconscious inside yourself. But that's a different story, right?
Yeah, I mean, I've brought this up before. I think we talked about, but in the Superman comics, like one of the versions of his origin story is that
Yeah,
on planet Krypton, they pretty much gave leadership over to a computer system called Brainiac, and
yeah,
Brainiac actually ended up destroying the planet, and his Superman's parents got him the heck out of there, and later on, Brainiac became a major villain in the Superman comics.
yeah, yeah. Major villain. Like that Brainiac first origin issue is worth a fortune, like
And
four
then
thousand dollars.
And then there's from Marvel Comics, there's the Darkhold.
Yeah, Darkhold. You brought up Darkhold earlier. What was your? I swear to God, I probably have a Darkhold comic book
Well,
because
as you know,
like
the characters of Doctor Strange
Doctor
and the
Strange.
Scarlet Witch have become very popular lately because they are
Yeah.
part of the Marvel Comics universe. And
Hmm.
the Scarlet Witch, I believe, in one of her origin stories, actually got her powers from the Darkhold, or she was reading the Darkhold, something like that. But
Yeah,
it's
it's like
basically
Necronomicon.
yes,
It
it's
reminds you of
connected to
Necronomicon.
it's connected to a being. I believe his name is Clethon, which is it kind of means the same thing as a chthonic entity, which many people would describe many of the old gods or the gods of old as
Yeah, yeah,
chthonic entities. It's all connected.
yeah. So let me explain this a little bit here. Anytime you hear a CH and a T put before anything, like you just said, Chthonic, that's like code word for Cthulhu. That's in that same. Many authors did different variations on Cthulhu, and they did the chthonic this and that and whatever. I'll tell you, some people argue that the Necronomicon's not real. That's fake stuff. That's uninteresting. There's nothing there. What?
That's how
But
they get you to not be interested in it.
mhm. Some people are like, oh, that's I know that's a fake, and then I'm like, well, it's created such a mythos around itself that there hasn't been a mythos created around anything so strongly like Lovecraft's Cthulhu and his eldritch gods, the old ones. There hasn't been anything like that created since the Greeks, the Romans, the time when they were worshiping the gods.
Back
And
when,
I know you're thinking, oh, that's just a story, written by a guy or whatever. No, it's seeping into public consciousness. The children are being read bedtime stories. I just showed you that book last week, my last interview, right?
yeah,
They're feeding this image into your consciousness. So then you go, if you're like me or Daniel, you go, what is this image they're feeding? What is the image of Cthulhu? What is it? It's a fucking octopus. Cthulhu's shape is a humanoid shape. He's bigger. He's huge. He's sleeping. And in the Lovecraft story, they wake him up. He gets woken up by a cult that's found the Necronomicon, and they've done the spells and they've woke him up.
and there's some kind of telepathic communication as well.
Telepathic communication. Lovecraft said that all of his followers or whatever, the cult members, he could see through their eyes.
Ooh.
Yeah, so he had eyes everywhere. So Cthulhu is associated with eyeballs. Who else is associated with eyeballs, Daniel? What's the other
Well,
symbol that has a big eye and a triangle?
are you talking about the Illuminati eye?
Well, you tell me. Cthulhu in Lovecraft's story, he has 1,000 eyes. He has tentacles coming off his face, like octopus tentacles, and at the end of each one is an eyeball, looking at the world through his followers, those that believe in him. That's why the story is so incredible, is because he has followers everywhere, in the post office, picking up your mail, delivering your mail. He has followers so he can look through their eyeballs. That's the first time that was ever done in a story. And Call of Cthulhu was written in like 1928. That's why I keep coming around. This stuff is more advanced than it was just a happenstance that he was writing this at that time. That's why I keep coming back around to Lovecraft and Crowley, because Crowley was a magician. Reminds you of the fucking Lovecraft's creation of the Abdul al-Hazred that created the Necronomicon, traveling between the spaces and time and space, right? The first author that ever talked about things being hidden. The gods or demons or monsters of Lovecraft, they were trapped between time and space. Nobody'd ever said that before. Do you get that?
Yeah, and let's not forget Sauron, who is also represented by an eye that could see pretty much everywhere.
Yeah, that's the Hobbit token.
I had an experience, Todd, where I was like in bed and I was hearing all these voices in my head, and all of a sudden I had this vision of this big black space, and all of a sudden millions of eyes started popping up everywhere, right? Just infinite amount of eyes. And then I heard this voice and it said, "We are Legion."
Yeah. Sounds demonic. Sounds like something demonic, that
Yes.
part. So does the Cthulhu part. I mean, that's why it's like people are like, oh, Lovecraft's not real, Cthulhu's not real or whatever. Is he not real? He's starting to gain a lot of attraction with people. Even if he doesn't exist as a physical being, you can see he's people's minds are starting to get on to the concept.
Yeah, and you have a lot of similar characters, like in getting back to the comic books, there
Yeah.
is a whole like Doctor Strange, his environment and reality where the story takes place is full of these ancient ones and things of that nature. It's very Lovecraft inspired, and sometimes Doctor Strange will do a spell and all these tentacles will kind of come out of him. He'll do a lot of
Mhm.
things like that, and he wears this thing around his neck called the Eye of Agamotto, and it's literally
Yeah.
an eye.
Yeah. The creators of the Marvel comic book universe, they all have pretty interesting belief systems. If you ever go back and look at what Stan Lee and a bunch of those people, their belief systems are. Most of our superheroes, Daniel, were created by Jewish people, by the way.
I didn't know that.
Like all your favorite superheroes, Superman and Batman and all those, there was like a league of Jewish comic book artists that took over the market back in New York. And pretty much every comic book that you know and love came out of Jewish people.
I had no idea about that, but it seems
Yeah,
that many things in the entertainment industry in general, there's a lot of Jewish people. Like there's a lot of Jewish
yeah,
people in New York and in
yeah,
Hollywood.
yep. That's not saying all Jewish people are bad or running the conspiracy or whatever, but most of your comic book heroes, they were created by Jewish people.
Well, they have connections because they were in ancient times. They were the merchant class, and their wealth still exists today, and their connections still exist today.
Not only that, but they have intelligence connections, right? We're getting ready to go to World War III, Daniel. Ukraine, Zelensky's a Jewish guy, right?
Yeah.
Um, the Bolshevik Revolution in Russia was Jewish people,
Yes. And
and it
what's
goes on
funny
and on.
about that? What's funny about that is that there is this whole Jewish thing. We've talked so much about this, but this whole
Yeah, we skated
concept,
around this.
yeah, this whole concept of anti-Semitism, and you have referred to it as a trap. You've encouraged me to not
Right.
be about this, so to speak. There's
Yeah.
a
Favorite
podcast or YouTuber that you were talking to me
Adam
quite a bit of.
Green.
Adam Green, yes.
Yeah. He's probably the most censored fucking YouTuber I think out there. I haven't even seen his shit for about 2 years. That's probably how censored he is. He was just showing connections that you wouldn't believe. Where the Jewish people, they're all Jewish people that run shit at the top of the financial investment firms, the pharmaceuticals, the Hollywood, the comic books. That's why I
Well,
got off on that tangent, Daniel, because comic
yeah.
books aren't immune from whatever it is they're pushing. And
My
you know
guest
what?
earlier, my guest earlier, Todd, was talking about Farrakhan, and
He
Farrakhan
looked,
has said all of these same things. You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah,
he's
yeah,
very the Zionist, the Zionist. That's I'm not saying
yeah,
that's what I
Zionist.
believe. I'm saying this is what
Well,
Farrakhan believes.
well, Zionist. If you ever looked into Zionism, go look at what they do. Look at who they are. Go take a look. If you want to wake up, just type in Zionist. What is it? Boom, that'll send you down a rabbit hole all on its own.
It may
I
even
don't.
cost you your sanity.
Yeah, and all I've told you, Daniel, is that my years of diving down rabbit holes, I realized better not go down that one and just sit and focus on that one because that's not where the conspiracy is. The conspiracy is in your face. The conspiracy is every shade, color, race, whatever. It's in your face. It's sitting on your shoulder now.
Skate and
I mean, that's how
Destroy in the chat. He's jumping in. He says the Jesuits use them for frontmen. Look into their history.
totally go back 100 or 200 years. It's all Jesuits. The Jesuits were like the CIA 200 years ago for the Catholic Church. They're still around, influencing everything.
And he says Adam Green is so obviously Jewish. Why would they let his channel stay up?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I'm I just looked at his videos. I have no idea.
I think he's
I,
referring to like controlled opposition.
yeah, controlled opposition. I love that term because doesn't that look like what we're living through?
That's what I
Even
am.
your, even yeah, that's what you are, Daniel. You're the one. You're the one that stormed the Capitol on January 6th.
You too, Todd. I saw you in those
I know.
videos,
I
those
know.
insurrection
I
videos.
know.
You were the guy in
People
the
are looking
Viking
for
hat.
me. That was me.
You were
How'd you
leading
know?
the whole thing. You were Trump's right
How'd
hand
you know?
man.
How'd you know? You know, I heard there's actual groups that call them sedition hunters. Have you ever heard of this?
No.
Antifa and BLM and the left or whatever they are, they're scouring all those videos for faces to turn over to the DOJ so they can be prosecuted, for trying to overthrow the government.
Yeah, but see,
Ridiculous.
what happened to Antifa being anti-government? You'd think that both sides would want to tear down the government together, but that doesn't seem to be the case.
What you got there is the mindless followers or whatever. Antifa's ran by whoever has the money.
Mm-hmm. Soros.
That's what those groups are. Yeah. Who knows, Soros?
Soros, who helped possess Jewish paintings and artifacts and
turned
help
in
the
his
Nazis.
fellow Jewish members. Yeah. There's a Jewish person over there. That's what we're told. Soros helped round up the
and then
Jewish people in World War II. Then he became really famous and a billionaire.
And he
There's
has
a
all
bunch
this
of people
power
like
and
that.
money.
Henry Kissinger, Secretary of State under Nixon, was a Hungarian Jewish person, of course, Brian or Daniel. Hungarian person.
Brian.
Oh, Brian's my friend up in Washington. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
He's my
as
guitarist.
long as you don't call me O'Brien, the character from 1984, the guy that
I hate that.
entrapped Winston and Juliet or Jessica, whatever her name was. He was kind of like this Alex Jones character. He was the leader of the resistance, and he got them all on his side. And then turns out he was part of it the whole time.
All you got to do is read 1984 to get really spooked about where you are. Because in 1984, they had it set up where he thinks he's living in the real world, and he's going down to a bookstore and he finds some things that no one else has available anywhere. So he thinks this is really cool. But he doesn't realize that they're sitting there snooping and spying on him the whole time he's picking out a book. Right?
Exactly what they are doing to all of us as we speak. I mean, I'm using my phone to take notes right now, but it's got the camera facing my face and microphone pointed at me. So they're listening and watching all of this and not just
everything.
On YouTube.
So some people say, well, I'm not doing anything. My wife always says, well, I'm not doing anything. Why should I care? That's a good point, right? I'm not doing anything wrong. Why should I care? That's fine if you live in a government where you can trust the justice system. If your government ever turns into a totalitarian dictatorship, all that information will become extremely useful to teams of people that will come and pick you up because they don't like what you're saying. Right?
Yeah.
So you're loving life right now. You think you're in America and it's all free and everything's good. They've been snooping and spying and setting up a big giant geo fence around you, tracking every movement you make. And if they don't like what you're thinking, you're already on a list. I mean, this is where we're at. So
the thing is that's literally how it is. I mean, we go through our daily lives. How many of us really have what we want? Most of us are working jobs that we hate. Most of us hate our environment that we're in. We hate the neighborhoods that we live in. We hate our own families. We hate everything. That's not right. It's not natural. So many of us shouldn't be angry and disgruntled and sick. Why are all these people so angry and beating each other up in the streets? Like, what's wrong with people? It's because on some level we all know that we're slaves.
They've created this system. We live in their boxes. We live in their system. So a lot of people are running up against the walls that they can change the outside structure of their system at any moment. So a lot of people are now running into their walls that they're putting up. And what we got to do is, this is my opinion now. Let's get on to my opinion. The most dangerous thing to these assholes is everybody getting together. The communists getting together with the right wingers, getting together with the Trump supporters, getting together with the Tulsi Gabbard supporters. That's the thing that terrifies them the most, Daniel.
You got Brian on the brain.
And Al.
There's got to be some meaning behind this.
Oh, Brian, yeah, he's my buddy that turned me on to guitar a long time ago. I've told you about him. He lives up in Washington. Yeah, he's got a cabin up there.
Shout out to Brian.
If you ever want to get away, Brian's a great place. You could just go hang out at his cabin for a weekend, Daniel.
But check this out, Todd. Skate and Destroy, one of our favorite commentators in the chat.
Oh, I love Skate and Destroy.
Yeah,
no. Listen, I also wanted to shout out to Placebo Rock.
Oh, Placebo Rock.
Placebo Rock. I love you, my man. Thank you for being on every Daniel's show. Every show, Daniel's.
Yes, thank you to Placebo Rock. And Skate and Destroy says during the Bolshevik Revolution, they ran an operation called Operation Trust, where they infiltrated opposition groups, then rounded them up.
Yeah. They've been doing this a long time. They're well versed at it. That's why some of us might be, they might consider us some of their assets. Now, the world's set up now, Daniel, with the computer and AI systems figuring everything out, that they can just run your fucking life. They don't have to send out an undercover agent unless it's something special, like January 6th. Did you see the Tucker Carlson videos?
No, what's that all about?
I was showing the videos that they wouldn't show you about January 6th. But I can't see long. But I did want to call in.
Ultron voice.
My phone might die.
That seems to be a problem for many. I mean, I could probably do this show from my smartphone, but my phone would probably eventually die. So we're still on the computer. See, Todd's just frozen right now. We just almost lost him. Now he's not frozen. There he is. He's frozen again.
So I should probably let you go on a. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
I should probably end on a high note.
I do that every day.
Right? Showing my beautiful mountains. How about I show my beautiful mountains? Can you see those?
Oh, beautiful. Oh, man. Let's get you up on the big screen.
They're so pretty.
Oh, man.
The fucking chemtrails, they stopped spraying last night, so for one day we
beautiful
don't have a bunch of chemtrails in the sky. It's so pretty.
Beautiful.
Can you see me now?
I can see you now. I can hear you now.
Daniel, you know I love your show. I wish I would have been able to get on when you're. Well, I love that about you, Daniel.
Okay, let's not get too gay here.
Why not?
Let's not get too
LGBTQ plus.
Yeah.
So I'm walking back through my beautiful apartments. Want to see some beautiful scenery? Daniel?
Yes.
Here you go.
Yes.
Look how pretty that is.
Oh my. You know, this is great. This is almost like I'm there with you. It's like I flew to Utah and I am. Yeah. Wow, that is neat.
You know, if you ever come to Utah.
I like that.
If you ever come to Utah, call me.
I will.
Like that Blondie song. Call me. Anytime.
You know, the only reason I haven't done it is because the rent is so high around here in Seattle that I never have money for stuff like that. Oh, we just lost Todd. His phone must have died. But if I had enough people donating to the show, I wouldn't have to work a 9 to 5. And my whole life could literally just be traveling around in an RV and going to these different cool places and making videos and going to visit Todd personally. Like, I would go to Todd's house, I'd drag him out of his house, and we'd get into my car and we would go explore some haunted mansions, some UFO landing sites, some Bigfoot Sasquatch territory. Some of that Bohemian Grove stuff is going on. We'd explore some mud flood buildings. And I want to do something like that with you guys. I want to put together a supernatural / paranormal investigative team, the End of Days team. And our job is going to be to go out and investigate this shit firsthand. I'm not talking about like ghost hunters where they just run around and everything's green and they occasionally see a shadow person. I mean, I'm talking about full on video footage of supernatural and paranormal things. And, you know, people are too hard on some of those Travel Channel shows because they do get footage sometimes. They get a lot of footage of shadow beings. And shadow beings are probably one of the more common supernatural occurrences that people actually see. Like, if you were to go out and poll people, you would probably find that like 1 in 4 people have seen a shadow person, or 1 in 5 or something like that. But the fact that they show these visually on camera, I mean, are you trying to tell me that most people don't believe in this stuff? I think this is proof that most people do believe in these things. If you go around and you ask people, do you believe in aliens? Most people say yes. Do you believe in spooks? Most people will say yes. Maybe we're not as brainwashed as we think that we are, yet we are at the same time, because even though we know these things are real, we are still afraid to fully embrace them because of what people think. If you're not all about the Nike shoes and the Prada and stuff of that nature, then you feel like you're not good enough. And that's how they get us. They make us feel on an individual level that we are not good enough. You could say on some level that's happening to the entire black race, right? The psyop, the mental manipulation, is to make them collectively feel like they're not good enough. And part of that is stealing their history away and bearing their history. Because Black History Month is American Slavery and Segregation Month. It has nothing to do with actual Black history. Black history should be the history of Africa, right? Are you telling me Black history only goes back 200 years? The Black people were invented 200 years ago? According to the people in charge, they were, right? That's why that show is called Roots, because that's what they do. They cut people off from their roots. And not just blacks. I'm talking about Irish. I'm talking about Chinese people. I'm talking about Turkish people. I'm talking about Italian people. I'm talking about Japanese people. I'm talking about all people. Look, Hispanics, look at what they go through. Oh, we got to build a wall. Are you telling me that's not all manipulation to mentally put down Hispanic people? Like, we really need a wall? I mean, who's hiring them? The business owners and corporations and people like that complain, and then they hire them in great numbers. That makes no sense. So, anyways, let's get on to some other topics. Andrew Tate. Everybody hates this guy, except for his incredibly large fan base, right? He's the scum of the earth, yet he seems to have some way of resonating and mind controlling these young males, the same way that he was able to manipulate and mind control these girls that were part of his whole porno company, right? This guy's literally all about manipulation. He gets them thinking, skate and destroy, says they're building a wall to keep us in. Ain't that the truth? But this Andrew Tate, disgusting man, you know, him and his beady little head and his turkey neck. He's always got those sunglasses on. Oh, I'm cool. Has his shirt unbuttoned. Oh, I'm cool. Everybody think I'm cool. I got so much money. And I talk about like this philosophical stuff. This is how you're going to make your life better. He's no different than any of these guys that release books on how to get rich. You know that old saying, the way to get rich is to release a book on how to get rich. None of that crap he talks about is going to help you. It's all recycled crap. It's recycled from somewhere else. And this latest thing, check this out. Andrew Tate made a whole video about how straight men should have sex with transsexual women. He made a whole video about it. And his whole his whole argument is that if he used some specific model or somebody, but he says if a trans woman looks like Scarlett Johansson, then it's better to have sex with her than an actual woman that looks like Hulk Hogan. He literally used Hulk Hogan as an example. Are you kidding me? Like, how are you even going to do that? Like, you don't have the right parts. It's going to have to be in the butt, right? That's the only way that it's going to play out. So this freaking guy who has all this influence over these young men, he's literally pushing this agenda, or maybe this is what he likes to do in his spare time. Like, he's gotten all the women, he's manipulated them all, he's made all this porno stuff. It's not good enough because these demons inside of his mind are just making him so lustful that it's just not good enough anymore. He can't just have like the hottest chick in the room. He's got to have a chick with a dick, right? Is this guy for real? Isn't he in enough trouble? Hasn't he done enough to society? And now he's going on Raven, the female Raven from the chat says, right into booty hole. That seems to be. And they say that's unnatural. Well, I mean, it is the booty hole. It is where there's poop, right? And there's tearing and stuff like that. I don't think that's good. I mean, maybe a lot of people out there would disagree. And, however you feel about it, why is this guy going public with this, with these thoughts, right? He's shameless in his ways. He is purely shameless in his ways. He knows that he's filth. He knows that he's disgusting. And it's not like an attack on trans people. I hear this word flurf a lot. Like, oh, you're a flurf. No, wait, no, that's a flat earther. A flat earther is a flurf, but they'll call you a turf, right? And a turf is a woman, or a woman who has some feminist ideologies, who is against trans people coming into like women's restrooms and their locker rooms and stuff like that. And there's this talk about having like separate locker rooms for trans people and stuff like that, separate categories in sports. But that's not what trans people want. A guy that wants to be female, he wants to go and change with other females because that makes him feel good. That makes him feel like he's one of them. That's for him. That's not for all the women that are in the locker room with him. All of those women are just victims of the agenda. They are victims. They better hope and pray that they don't go in a locker room and there's some trans woman with her dick hanging out, just being all nasty, right? And we know that all these people that go into the women's restrooms and women's dressing rooms are not all actual trans people. It's a pervert who sits in his basement and whacks off all day, and he's putting a bow tie in his hair, and he has carte blanche from society, from the government, to go in there and say, hey, what's up, ladies? I'm going to sit here and stare at your teenage daughter. There's nothing you can do about it. Near. And then this is okay. Because if these are the same people that are saying that they're friends to black people, that they're friends to Hispanic people, that they're friends to gay people, these are the people that are, it's just insanity. It's the complete, utter, total destruction and ravaging of society. It's the destruction of the family unit. It's the destruction of all things that are wholesome and good. And I never was one of these guys that bought into all this Leave It to Beaver crap. I know back in the day it wasn't as great as they say it was, but what's happening now? We were talking about this earlier. Like the housewife or mom has been convinced that she is a loser if she doesn't have a career now. So now they have both spouses in the workplace, and they say, oh, well, that's great. She's not submitting to her husband. No, she's submitting to a different man now. She's submitting to her boss. And that's supposed to be pro women and pro females. Oh, well, that's fair because she could become the boss too. Yeah, and now she's, instead of working 40 hours a week, she's working 50 hours a week. And she's got this carrot stick over her head, like, to get the promotion. And what are a lot of women going to do? They're going to sleep their way to the top because it's a hell of a lot more effective and a hell of a lot quicker. Right? And this situation was created by the people that claim to be helping society. And what have they done? Just more money going to bullshit. No money for us. No money for the people getting bathed in chemicals. No money for the homeless people here in Seattle that are filling up the homeless camps, starting their own homeless camps. No money for them. No money for me, who can barely pay his rent. No help. No handouts. Right? Except if you just got to this country, then you get everything. Or if you're in Ukraine, then you get it all. Or if you're in Israel, then you get it all. But nothing for us. Isn't that how Trump got elected? He said that he was for us. You know, whether that is true or not, ultimately, whether he's a wolf in sheep's clothing or not, it proves something. It proves that we as a people feel like we are being screwed. We know that they don't really care about us. We know that our government is not for us. But can you see that also in the media and in Hollywood? Can you tell that they are not for us? Who is for us? Are we even for us? They have us so divided and so at each other's throats about like this crap that Andrew Tate is talking about. Like the man's obsessed with trannies. Why? Because that's what's on the agenda? Maybe it doesn't even matter. Maybe they just want us all at each other's throats. Maybe it's part of the trauma, right? How much trauma is there out there for the individual person who has to grow up in this society? You grow up without a whole family. You grow up with nothing but violence and hypocrisy. Children nowadays, they're just growing up with craziness. And have you heard the way that these children communicate with each other? Like these kids that grew up on social media, I can't even talk to them because it's like they speak their own language because they have been completely wrung out psychologically and they're exposed to the worst stuff from the beginning. And they are mind controlled to be mind controlled. We are all mind controlled to be further mind controlled. We are all, I'm not proud of this, but that's the reason I got into Luciferianism. When I was getting deep into that stuff, I was just tired of being controlled. I refuse to submit to anything. I will rebel against anything and everything. To me, there's some kind of beauty in that, to be rebelling against any authority, anything that tries to control you, anything that makes you want to submit. Isn't that what Lucifer kind of did? I mean, he rebelled against God himself. That's the ultimate act of independence in some ways. And maybe it's a big trick. I don't know. There's definitely a demonic rabbit hole there. But there's a reason why these ideas appeal to people. It's because we grow up in a system that's nothing but control. You got to sit there for 6 hours a day and listen to these liberal maniac teachers just telling you their personal beliefs, telling you to sit there, telling you to not express yourself freely. If you express yourself freely, your life will get worse because you will get kicked out of school and you will not be able to get a good job. You will not be able to get any job. They threaten your future. They get you to submit by taking away your future. But your future was never in their hands. What if we could all realize that at once? Okay, enough about Andrew Tate. I just thought that was really weird seeing him publicly. They say this guy's a genius, but really he wants a woman with a penis. And Andrew Tate, if you're listening to this, I don't care, dude. I'll fight you tomorrow. Let's go mano a mano. The truth versus the lies. I saw this video circulating again. It's the one where the lady is, I think she's in front of a Target and she's in a wheelchair and she's like fighting with all these people. She's trying to steal something, and she's pulling a knife out, and she's like stabbing at people, and they're like hitting her with stuff and throwing her around, and they're taking a fire extinguisher out, and they're just blowing the fire extinguisher in her face, right? And it just made me think, because I remember back in about 2020 when that video came out, in these QAnon type of researchers, they instantly found all these other videos that she was in. They figured out she's a crisis actor. They, really investigated this stuff. That's why, as kind of dumb as they were, I do miss the QAnon community. Before they got completely deplatformed and completely taken out of the picture, some of the best researchers of this stuff were from the QAnon community. Even though they had this like allegiance to Q, they would still do a great job investigating a lot of this pedophilia and stuff like that. But anyways, I saw her, I saw this video again, and it's like we all just sort of forgot about how fake everything is, right? Not only was she a crisis actor, but there's literally crisis actors everywhere faking this stuff. People say that a lot of this stuff that comes from Ukraine, a lot of the video footage and stuff like that, is crisis actors. And when that really hits your brain, it makes you realize like how deep the conspiracy actually goes. They're literally putting fake people out there in order to push us all collectively in a particular direction. And there's been quite a few of them. We were talking about the insurrection earlier. Pretty much all the people that were in charge of that whole thing were agents or crisis actors. And the right is blaming the left. They're saying, "Oh, that was Antifa. They did it all." That's not the way either. Like, what are you doing by blaming Antifa other than playing into their agenda of misdirection and distractions? It's not Antifa. I mean, maybe they were, but it doesn't matter. You're making it sound like it's the left doing it. It's not the left. It's the people that actually work there at the White House that are letting them in. It's the government itself. It's playing left against right. And this is why, like, when people call me woke and stuff like that, I get offended by that. I'm not a leftist. I'm not a liberal. Like, oh, if you say that you're pro-black, you're woke. You're not woke. It doesn't make you woke. A person that's woke has no clue about anything. A person that's woke is just got out of college and they're full of all these fluffy nonsense ideas about equality and all that. Hold on a second. So Skate and Destroy from the chat, he says you should check out Ab the Fakeologist. He might even be willing to come on your show or have you on his. Certainly. I'll definitely reach out to him. I'll add that to the list before I forget, because I'm rude like that, and I'll just take a second from the show to jot a note down. Ab the Fakeologist. But that's part of the fun of the show. It's spontaneous. Like, anything can happen at any time. We don't have to go in this direction or that direction. We can go in both directions at the same dang time. But the level of fakeness. A lot of people think that the moon landing is just another one of these videos, and you can look at the beginning of all these wars, the sinking of the Lusitania, the Gulf of Tonkin incident, maybe the sinking of the Titanic. Let's see, Skate and Destroy. Fake OTube is his website where you can find lots of banned and hard to find videos. And you do have to search for this stuff sometimes. Example, there's all these videos there's two different ones. There's the shape-shifting videos of people's eyes turning into snake slits and stuff like that, where they're actually displaying some sort of shape-shifting ability on a live video. And people that aren't in the rabbit hole as far as we are, they could get turned off by this stuff because they say, "Oh, Daniel's talking about people shape-shifting. He's crazy. I'm not going to waste my time on this. I want to hear stuff that's real." It is fucking real. It is real. Shape-shifting is real. I don't care if you believe in it or not. Read your history, read your mythology, read your books. Go out there and investigate. Quit watching shows about shape-shifting on Netflix and not believing in shape-shifting. Why are they making all these shows about werewolves and vampires and witches? Why are people fascinated by that? Why is that not boring to them? It's because on some level, they know that this shit is real. They have some kind of ancestral memory of it. Some part of them knows. Satan himself will masquerade as an angel of light. Satan is a shapeshifter. All angels can appear as they want to appear. Maybe we ourselves can appear as we want to appear. The ancient stories are full of shapeshifting. The Native American stories are full of shapeshifting. It's a huge part of shamanism. But anyway, so many of these videos showing eyes turning into slits, into cat eyes, snake eyes, they completely get scrubbed from the internet. I have to search and search. I in my memory, I've probably seen 20 to 30 of them. But it's just like the mermaid thing. They have ways of making this stuff look fake because that's who these people are. They have an agenda to blind the masses and keep us ignorant of our own selves. Like that David Icke book and that whole thing, Remember Who You Are. There's a reason why you need to remember who you are, because you're literally in a cloud of smoke. You don't remember your past lives. And remember your past lives, sometimes it just takes a smell, sometimes a song, sometimes a dream, and you start to feel it. You start to feel that there was something else out there. And the older you get, the more you start to reconnect to that past of yours before you were born. But anyways, back to this internet scrubbing stuff. So, and I've seen it happen to my own show, my own material that I've put out there. I've been shadow banned, oppressed. I could go on and on about that stuff, but you guys know all about that stuff. But another one is the shadow people videos, like the stuff that we see on travel. Like if they were really allowing us to release everything that we had on these beings, I've seen just as many shadow people videos as I've seen of like the shape shifting and stuff like that. I've seen videos where a dude's walking around and he's literally got one of these things stuck to his back, connected to his root chakra, where they feed from. Because that's what these things do. They literally feed on all of us. If you have depression in your life, if you have sadness, if you have a lot of anger and hate, a lot of negative emotions, a lot of fear, a lot of anxiety, there is no such thing as anxiety. That is parasitism. The anxiety is a side effect of these beings feeding on you. You do not, all this like psychological stuff, they get people on these pills, these antidepressants. Antidepressants are, what do they call it? Pharmakeia or something like that. It's witchcraft. What did the Fallen Watchers do but introduce medicines, abortion? I didn't even get into this earlier, but abortion is like 40% black people. You want to talk about population control? Being pro-abortion? All these liberals that are pro-abortion? Again, they are, like Dr. Roberts said, they're showing their love so that they can kill you. Planned Parenthood, Bill Gates. Didn't Bill Gates' father invent Planned Parenthood? Bill Gates is talking about curbing birth rates. Bill Gates is talking about curbing birth rates in Africa. And what do we see going on right now with some of this other stuff we're not allowed to talk about? Otherwise we lose it all. The curbing of birth rates. War. Curbing of birth rates. War. Both of those things are happening right now. Population reduction. Okay. Enough ranting and raving. I want to just, two more things I want to talk about. Baseball cards. This is some manipulative shit. As you know, I've been getting rather into card collecting again. I know, boring, snooze fest. But hear me out. This shit is so manipulative. When I was a kid, like I would buy a pack of baseball cards, and it was all about getting the players that you liked. I like Ken Griffey Jr. I like Nolan Ryan. I like Roger Clemens. I like Darryl Strawberry. I love Darryl Strawberry. But now you buy these packs, and these valuable cards, it's the same picture as the common card. It just has a different border on it. or it has some kind of shiny effect. Like, let's say I get a Juan Soto, right? And he's got the base card, and then the rare cards, the inserts, the golden ticket inside the pack that you're trying to get, it's the same picture as the base card. It just has like a gold border on it or an aquamarine shiny border or something like that. And you get it, and it's got like a special number on it, and you're like, wow, I got this rare card. This is what I was looking for. This is awesome. You start throwing your arms in the air like Charlie in the Chocolate Factory. I got it. I won. I got the golden ticket. No, you didn't get anything. You got the same picture again with a different border around it. And they literally release like 10 to 12 of these sets every year, maybe a lot more than that. The same pictures over and over. And people just keep paying out this money. Do you know how popular sports cards are getting right now? They got them at Walmart. They got them at Target. They got them at Barnes and Nobles. They got them at Walgreens. They got them at gas stations. They got them at 7-Eleven. They got them at Big Five. Walmart's like the biggest store there is. Just full of sports cards, full of Magic cards, full of Pokemon cards. I swear, literally, they got them at the hat stores, Lids. They got sports cards there. Literally every store out there is now carrying sports cards, Pokemon cards, Magic the Gathering cards. This stuff's bigger than ever. And they're doing these card breaks, and people are getting all into it. But it's a scam. It's a scam. All your money's going to these cards that have literally no value. It's better to buy singles. Go on eBay, buy singles, buy the cards that you want. This pack ripping stuff, it is a virus for the mind. It is pure cocaine. It is pure addiction. You feel me? I'm just stressed out. It's the world, man. It's the system. It's society. It's got me all on edge. I'm about to lose it. I'm just kidding. We've got some big shows ahead. Oh man, and we are on a roll. We've put on some good fucking shows, guys. Good shows, and different than anything anybody's doing out there. That's what I love the most. We're back, baby. We are back. We are full steam ahead. This show is back. We've got people showing up from way back in the day. We've got new faces. We've got everybody converging here on End of Days Radio. And this is just the beginning. I've got plans. I told you I was going to give you more shows. I told you I was going to step it up. And I'm doing what I promised. I'm not a liar. Don't write me emails calling me a liar, because I'm not a liar. Last thing I wanted to talk about. So somebody pointed this out. And I do remember seeing this when I first watched this movie. But you guys know the movie Ready Player One, the Steven Spielberg movie about virtual reality, transhumanism, blah, blah, blah. Well, at the end of the movie, when I believe the main character is talking to the guy that like programmed the whole thing, like he's the architect of that whole thing, kind of like in the Matrix, the architect. But he goes over to the wall and there's like a switch in there. And somebody pointed out that there's a picture of Saturn on top of there. There's like on the wall. You watch the movie or look it up. Ready Player One, Saturn. Boom. This guy, Steven Spielberg, that's supposedly connected to all these secret societies. Something weird going on with the whole Poltergeist movie. He's putting Saturnian images in his movies. The whole Saturn death cult, right? Have you gone down the Saturn rabbit hole? Have you seen the thread that I made on Twitter about Saturn, the Saturn death cults? Have you watched my video, my interview with Troy? Sorry, I forget how to pronounce his last name. Have you seen my interview with the guy that wrote the biggest book on the Saturn death cults, Troy McLaughlin? This whole Saturn thing is one hell of a rabbit hole, one hell of a journey into the fringe. This is a great place to start. If you haven't looked into this stuff, from the monuments in your town to the movies that you watch to your political leaders, everything. if you want to learn more, and I kind of hesitate to put this out there because it was a long time ago, and I've learned more since then, and I learned I made certain mistakes on things. But go to Twitter and search Ninja Shoes. That's my name on Twitter. Saturn Death Cults, and you will find my big mega thread. It's practically a book on the Saturn Death Cults, and there's tons of information in there. I was trying to kind of break into writing and stuff like that, and it was just something creative that I was doing, and it had just a huge response. It's probably been seen by 100,000 people by now, at least. People even like use these apps to turn it into more of like a reader role or a book type of thing. But it's one of the coolest things I've done. I did it back in 2020 when I was doing a lot of channeling and getting a lot of information from the other side. It's dangerous to channel. You can get manipulated, but it was a great learning experience. And seeing that on Ready Player One, it just put me right back into that headspace of thinking about the Saturnian stuff. The rings of Saturn, the hexagram on the pole of Saturn, the ancient worship of Saturn. They would say that Saturn was our sun long ago. It goes on and on. There's a book I read a long time ago called Arctos. And this was way back in the day. This is before I got really hardcore about stuff. Man, just I should bring that segment of the show back where I would do like a little book review at the end. Man, that was fire. I don't know why I quit doing that. I just, it's like the thing with the camera. I forgot that I was supposed to plug my camera in the USB 2.0 slot. So for a bunch of episodes, I had like this shitty camera quality. I was like, what's going on? What's YouTube doing to me? But really, I just had forgot that I needed to do that because I get so caught up in other things that the show suffers. And I'm tired of that. This show is the main thing. It is the thing. It's the main thing. It's the only thing. It's not the only thing, but you know what I'm talking about. You got to keep the main thing the main thing. And man, if you think the past 10 years of End of Days Radio has been good, you just wait to see what comes next. I've never been as committed to this. Like whatever sort of demonic oppression that I was under that was keeping me from doing enough shows, I've gotten past it. What about the eye on the South Pole of Saturn? Yeah, crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. The fact that there's even an eye or anything like that going on. I talked about this on the last show, but somebody like randomly messaged me telling me all this stuff about the Tower of Babel and Saturn and all this. And they said the Tower of Babel was actually a hexagram or a hexagon, and it was pointed towards the hexagon or the eye or whatever on the pole of Saturn. So it's actually some kind of portal, and how that works, I don't know. But man, it's just something about that rings and resonates very true. But hey, it's been a while. I'm gonna wrap up this show. I think we kicked ass today, personally. Next week we have. There's nothing scheduled for next week. On the 25th, we have Logan coming on. I've been talking to Max Cole. Max Cole, the director, a friend of the show. I reached out to him. Hey, how's it going? Hey, buddy, haven't talked to you in a while. What you been up to? He wants to come back. He wants to come back on. He's got some hot fire projects in the works, and he will be joining us. Again, we have Logan coming on. I have a whole list of names that I'm planning to bring on. I promise I won't talk too much about sports or pro wrestling or collecting cards. We'll keep it about what we like: the ghosts, the goblins, the portals, the witches, the vampires, the unicorns, the Sasquatches, the stuff that you guys don't find boring. We'll focus on that stuff. And that's really what we should focus on. Skate and Destroy. Great show, man. Definitely email Ab. He would be a good guest. And thank you to everybody. Skate and Destroy, Raven, Jay Vega, all these names, all these people that show up in the chat. Rex Colt. I would Scott Shuthats. I wish I could just like name all of you guys that show up here regularly. Placebo Rock. I mean, you guys kick ass. When I see the same people showing up and participating, man, that you guys are a big part of the reason why this show kicks ass. So please don't stop now. I mean, I love when I see you guys here on Saturday afternoons or whenever we do the show. And one thing I'm going to be doing is I'm going to make sure I set up and schedule the show at least a day before we actually go on air. That way everybody kind of knows what's going on and what we have planned. I'm going to be better about staying on top of the website, making sure that guest list is up there and it's updated. I want you guys to know who's coming on and when, so you can kind of plan a little bit instead of just expecting you to spontaneously be here with me. I know that doesn't really work. Being inconsistent, not doing episodes consistently, not drinking enough caffeine, it hurts the show. But I'm going to fix all that. I promise you. I'm going to get out of here. Love you guys. Until next time, good day, and good night. Love you. Goodbye.
From the beginning.
And I was shown that that Lucifer would return, that the UN and the Vatican were going to be completely behind it, again, under false pretenses. He's going to show up and say, I'm here to save the day, right? And okay, fine, you know.
Yeah, of course,
ahead,
you can say
it.
whatever you want.
But
I've always hated censorship. It's the internet.
Sometimes, once they get you for your first love bite, well, it depends on how aware you are, right?
I forgot my bullets. I never had a gun. Here I am left standing. Am I the only one? For what I see, memories have gifted me. I'll never see the sun.
First of all, as you know, the Anunnaki and the Draco are enemies. Second of all, underneath Baghdad was a stargate that was created by the Anunnaki so that they could transfer from Jupiter to the Earth.
I'll never see the sun. I could just end it all, but the demons will have won.
Practitioners that, some are good and some use their magic for good and to heal and to help, and others do use it for evil. And, in some cases, people really were
This is too much sometimes.